I appreciate that, Tahir. Thank you so much, Tahir. There we go. And let me go live on Facebook now. All right, and I'm live on Facebook. All right, y'all. So I appreciate y'all being here. If anybody would like to come up and discuss what I have on the board, please come on up. This is genuine. This is good faith discussion. And I have a guest. All right, 2310G, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here. How you doing? Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you.
Not a problem. 231. Are you over 18? And do you think you could give me a good reason to be a conservative?
Yes, I'm over 18. Yeah, I could give you a few reasons to be conservative. One is you keep the family nucleus together. So you start off with uh, courting a girl as a male. You marry that girl. You don't run around with other females, right? And she don't run around with other males. You marry each other. You create a family. You create a nucleus, and then you create the next generation of people that are going to follow the same example that you created. So that's one example.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
What makes you think I can't do that being a leftist?
Well, because usually leftists are very selfish. Usually it's about your job or your career, or I can't have a baby because and you either don't want to have a baby, or if you accidentally had a baby, you want to abort the baby. So it's anti-family. It's more uh, self-deprecating.
If that was the case, why would leftists support policies that will actually help families, like universal health care, parental leave, guaranteed housing, of that matter? Because everything that you're saying, I can do that and still have leftist politics. Like, for example, I can
Sure.
still believe that a woman has a right to get an abortion and still want to marry a woman and have children with her. It doesn't stop me from
Sure.
doing that.
Sure. So what leftist politics are different from leftist values, right? So leftist politics are creating social programs that keep the family nucleus separated. So, like, if you don't need a father in the home, then you just go to the government and they provide a social program for you so that you can provide in whatever way, healthcare, food stamps, however you may need, right? But if you have a family nucleus, which is the conservative route, right, then you don't necessarily need to rely on government. You rely on your family nucleus, and the family nucleus is able to, provide for the family, not take away from anybody else's taxpayer dollars, right? Like, and be able to go on and succeed.
Okay, well, that the problem with that is incorrect in several ways because number one, when it comes to the family nucleus, leftists don't have an issue with the family nucleus. What we say is that there's more family types than just a mother, father, and children. There's also grandmothers, uncles, cousins, etc. Like, for example, I'm black, right? We are very communal people. So when we talk about the nuclear family, my nuclear family is not just my dad, my mom, and my sisters. My nuclear family is my dad, my mom, my sisters, my two grandmas on both sides, my
Well,
uncles, my
hold on,
cousins, and
brother.
even my
Hold,
friends.
hold,
Hold on, let me finish,
hold
let me
on,
finish, let me
hold
just
on, you
finish, let me
salute.
just finish, let me just finish, let me finish. What I'm saying is that culturally, that's my nucleus, right? So
No,
when
but
people talk about,
that's not the
let me
nuclear
just finish,
family, though.
let me just finish, let me just
Go
finish,
ahead,
let me just
go ahead.
finish.
I didn't know.
What I'm
Okay,
saying is that
you say
what I'm saying is
finish
hold on, let me
whenever.
just finish. What I'm saying is that
Just say
we
finish.
define. Let me just finish. Let me finish. What I'm saying is that the way that we define nuclear family is different culturally. What I'm saying is that leftists actually accept that we defined different types of nuclear families. There's no problem with mother, father, children, right? That's not an issue. What I'm saying is that when it comes to leftism and families, we view nucleus as more than just mother, father, family. There's nothing. There's mother, father, children. I'm sorry. There's more than that than just those, right? And what I'm saying is that when it comes to leftist values, we do value family. We just value community as well. We think that the community is also part of your family, and I don't see the problem with that. There is no leftist, or I would say there are people who say that the father is not important, doesn't need to be in the household, right? There are people who say that. I'm not gonna lie here and say that people who don't say that, but that's not a value that leftists hold. The value that leftists hold is community, not just mother, father, family, and bootstrap shit, right? Because you can have mother, father, children, and they still can't afford health care or food or housing, etc. That's why we have the politics that we have, so we can make sure that they stay together and have those.
But are you finished?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, and I agree with community. I think that the whole idea of conservatism is to have a community, and they have community through the
Sorry,
church,
can y'all
right?
hear me?
Same as you guys. Go ahead.
No, no, it's still your turn. Scratch, it's not your turn yet. Let him go.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know if I was in here or not. It's showing up weird for me.
No, no, you're in here. You're good.
Oh,
So I agree with you. Community is very important, but the nucleus, right? Like, so if you look at the root, at the rock, at the very beginning of said family, is the nuclear family. And why you're saying that the nuclear family is cousins and uncles and aunts and friends and all that. You what and whilst I also agree with that, you're not getting the point. The point is that the definition of a nuclear family is only mom, father, and children. So if you have that as a foundation, then all of the other relationships in community can happen. So you can have good relationships with friends and cousins and family and this and that, especially if they also have a nuclear family. So a nuclear family, by definition, means a mother and a father and children.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with like with cousins and this and that. That's community. That's a community. I agree with you. And that's also very important. I'm not disparaging that. But what I'm saying, the most important thing, that's the difference between liberals and conservatives, is that conservatives look at the nuclear family as the number one most important thing, and liberals do not.
Yeah, we don't. We see community as the most important thing, because like the thing
Okay,
is,
but how
you
can
can
you have a
have.
firm
Let me.
foundation?
I can
Hold on. How can
you
you
can
have a firm foundation if you don't have
I
if
can
you don't have a
explain that. I
nucleus?
can explain that if you don't interrupt. The reason why that is because you can have bad fathers and bad mothers, can't you?
Well, let's just say, okay, fine, no problem. I mean, nobody's perfect, but like if they stay together, that's definitely a higher yield in community being together, correct?
No,
Like
because
like
if the
if they
I'm
oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, if they, sure, no problem. Like, people are going to have arguments with each other. People are going to have disagreements. That's why it says, till death do us part. Because, look, we're we're locked in here like forever. It doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect,
Mhm.
but as long as we um, fulfill our sacred vows to stay together, then it's going to be a much higher yield for the next generation and the community, which was what like so much. Um, for them to follow that example and all stay together instead of everybody dispersing and going their own different ways.
What if one of them is abusive?
Well, you can take a singular, and use that as something that's like happens all the time. But that would be a silly argument that I would guess, because like it doesn't happen all the time. So
Right. It
you're
doesn't happen.
taking
It doesn't happen all the
something
time.
that is
Yeah, I agree with
singular.
you. Yeah, I agree with you. It
It
doesn't
doesn't
happen all the
happen all
time.
the time.
I agree with you. It doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
What I'm saying is that you have to take those things into consideration, right? Because like if the most important thing is just staying together, if someone is abusive, you're not gonna. And not only that, there are people who just are not compatible. You know what I mean? So like they shouldn't see it together just
Well,
because
if
hold
you
on,
want to
they
use
shouldn't.
outliers, if you
I'm not really
go ahead.
using
Sorry.
outliers. There are a lot of people who are not compatible and should have gotten divorced a long time ago. You see what I'm saying? So staying together is actually worse for them and the children. What we value is basically the like human capacity, what we value is equality, things like equality, things like human well-being, right? And human well-being also matters for you mentally, physically, spiritually. All that is part of your human well-being. That's
Yeah, but you're
what we
speaking in
value.
generalities.
But what I'm saying, yeah. But what I'm saying is that I have no problem with families, right? But I don't think that simply being a conservative and upholding mother, father, children is just gonna, be the greatest thing for society. What we need to do is value human well-being, and that's whatever that looks like. Whether that's mother, father, family, grandmothers taking care of them because the mother and the father sucks, whatever that means. If it's uplifting human well-being, that's what we should do. Not just nuclear family just as a nebulous term as the best thing ever, because there are some families that are not good. They're just not good.
I would venture to argue that no people are any good. You're not good. I'm not good. Nobody's good. Nobody's good in this world. But what we can do is to hold the nuclear family together for the children, so the children see it as an example. So okay, fine. Somebody makes a mistake, has a drunken night, they accidentally, I don't know, have a vicious argument with their wife as they're drunk, right? The next morning, maybe they can forgive themselves, they are forgiven. The children then see that there's an example of forgiveness. Like, it doesn't, it's not as, it's not the way that you're trying to portray it. You're trying to portray that, like it doesn't need to be so neat and tidy, like it's a perfect little box. I
Right. Like,
understand that it's not,
my bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but what I'm saying to you is, you asked me the question, what's the difference between conservatives and liberals? And that was my one example that I gave you,
Okay.
and you're trying to shred it by giving one-offs.
Right. What I'm saying is I'm not giving one-offs. What I'm giving is another perspective, because I'm not just talking about just one mistake and having a vicious argument. I'm talking about like actual abuse happening. I'm talking about like even if there's no abuse happening, I'm talking about
But
just
that's a
income.
one-off.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on,
I'm
but
not
that's
talking
a
about.
one-off.
Hold on. This is what I'm saying. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about like incompatibility. Yeah, I'm saying there are people who are not compatible and have children, which is why we have divorce, right? So like these are things that actually do happen. So this is part of our society, right? There are lots of people who are married and had children that should not have been married and have children because they're not compatible. They're just not. They may be good people, but they're not good together. That happens all the time. So what we should be uplifting is human well-being. Like maybe you're not compatible with this person, so your marriage isn't healthy, but you will be compatible with somebody else, and that marriage is healthy. To know who you're
Exactly.
compatible with, to know those type of things, we need to uplift well-being of human beings, and the best way to do
Exactly.
that is through the policies that I mentioned before.
No, exactly. Not exactly that I agree with your point. I actually disagree with your point wholeheartedly. Exactly what you're saying is exactly what the liberal point of view is. Like, if it's not going well in the first 15 seconds of this marriage,
That's
I'm
not what
I'm
I said.
being hypothetical. No, I know you didn't say that. I'm being hyperbolic. But if you don't get along with this, if you have one fight, then then immediately abort ship and look for another person because you deserve better, because you deserve better, right? And what I'm saying is that that's the liberal point of view,
That's
and
not what I'm saying at all. It's not the liberal point of view.
exactly explaining. Hold on, that's exactly explaining my point. You're saying, like, if something's wrong, if there's a leak in the ship, like a small leak in the ship, abandon ship. And
Nope.
what conservatives do is, they, instead of abandoning ship, they go and fix the leak.
Right, but that's not what I'm saying at all. You miss what I'm saying.
That is what you're saying, though.
No, it's
That
not.
is what you're saying.
No, it's
But
not.
but hold on, hold
When I
on, hold
said,
on,
when
hold
I
on.
said, hold on, wait, stop,
Hold on.
hold on, hold on. When I said,
We've been
when I said
speaking.
2, 3, 2, 3, 1, when I said incompatibility, we're not talking about a few arguments. Everyone's going to argue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about incompatibility. Incompatibility means that you guys do not match
Your
at all.
incompatibility is going to be you're gonna have less of a tolerance to incompatibility than conservatives will.
And that
Conservatives will
causes that causes
ride it through
that
and through.
causes that causes unhealthy
I think
families.
I think that causes family unity. I think that
It
causes
doesn't, bro.
family.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well,
I
that's your
you,
point of view.
no no. It's
So
not my. It's not my.
exactly. So
It's
you're
not.
pointing my
It's not
point
my
of
point
view.
of. Hold on. Two
Why
three
don't
one.
you?
It's not
Why
my
don't
point of
you
view.
ask somebody else? Hold on.
Hold
We're
on.
never gonna agree.
Wait. Hold
on
on. Wait.
all
Let
this.
me just explain.
So why don't you
Let me
ask
just.
somebody else on the panel?
Let me just explain this. It's not just my point of view. There's research on this. If the family is not compatible, if the parents are not compatible, it will cause a toxic dynamic, and that's bad for the children.
Where's the research coming from? Where did you
Psychological
research?
research. You know that we have like
Where? Give me a book and a reference. I'll look it up right now.
yeah, sure.
Give me a book.
Uh, so you sound like you care about human life, host. Do you like want to protect human life?
It's not your turn yet.
I mean, I don't mind while you're looking it up if you let other people,
No, it's not. It's not
you
his
know,
turn yet.
or if you have a mod, maybe your mod can look it up while you interact with your guests.
It's not his turn yet. It's still your turn.
I'm just saying that the live is boring whenever there's nobody talking. You know,
Right. I
so
understand.
like,
The live is born when nobody's talking, but it's not his turn yet. It's your turn. So we're gonna finish off with you, and then I'll move on to him. Okay.
finish off with me.
Yes,
Wow.
because I give everybody about 15 or
Why don't
20
you
minutes
take me
to speak.
dinner first? Take me to dinner first.
All right.
I'm joking. I like you, host. I think you're one of the most level-headed liberals that I've spoken with in a long time. So I appreciate it.
No problem.
Why don't you just ask Google AI?
Actually, I did, but I was trying not to use that. I was trying to get to the study that I was using. But if you're going to accept that, then there it is right here. Can you see that?
I can see it if I put my
Can affect through genetic
binoculars
risk and
on.
negative impacts from parental conflict. It depends on the nature of incompatibility. True. But if the parents are incompatible, that causes an issue.
No, I wasn't saying that, but
Right.
at the same time too, like
But that's what I'm talking about, like
either
parents being
what's
incompatible. We're
worse?
not. What I'm talking about.
Let me ask you this. You're a
Sure.
child. Okay, let me ask you this. You're a child, right?
Mhm.
Your parents are fighting with each other.
Mhm.
They fight with each other. Maybe it gets violent. Maybe it's like a little too much for you to handle. But then the next morning they make up and they kiss, and then you see it, witness it, and you're like, oh, all right, this is nice. This is good, right? My mom, my dad, they love each other. They love me. We're a family nucleus.
Mhm.
What you're insinuating is that you should, if it's violent like that or whatever, don't make up, leave, destroy the family nucleus, and what's better for the child? You think the parents making up after a bad incident, or the parents breaking up after a bad incident?
Depends on the incident.
It does depend on the incident. I agree with that. But are you just going to keep on like asking questions and never come to a conclusion?
No, of course we're gonna
Or
come to a conclusion. I think if it's an incident of like physical violence, then yeah, they don't need to be together, and that it doesn't matter who's the one that was violent, whether it was the woman that was violent or the man that was violent. If it
whether
was
they
a
were
violent incident, they don't
violent
need
or
to be
not,
together.
if they make up together, let's just say that it was violent,
Then
right?
that would
Like
teach the child.
you're saying that it immediately that is like grounds for them not to get together.
Correct.
Now,
That would, because
right.
that shows
So
the child.
so you want to
Wait, hold
destroy
on.
the family nucleus
So
instead of asking for forgiveness.
so
for that
CGO
family-
CGO what that would show
you're saying- so you're
what that would show
saying
the
that
child.
arguing-
Hold on, listen. What that would show the child is that violence and abuse is normal, and we shouldn't be showing that, should we?
No, it's about forgiveness. See, what you're looking at is the opposite. You're not looking at the forgiveness part of it.
Forgiveness is
Right.
fine, but just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean that you need to be
I
with
could
them.
argue. Hold on. I could be in the same, bro. I could be in the same room with you, and you look at me, and I say something that, like, maybe I make a joke or something like that, and then you like, I don't know, slap me across the face, whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying you would do that, but like, let's just say that it did happen, and then the next day you come at me and you're like, bro, like, I'm so sorry. I didn't like, I just got heated. I didn't mean for that. So you want to destroy our relationship between me and you? And not only that, but you're destroying the relationship between the nucleus of the family, which is the initial conversation that I gave for why conservative values are more important than liberal. Not more important. I believe in liberal values. I'm just saying, not believe in liberal values. I believe that they have the ability to believe in liberal values. I disagree with the liberal values, but what I'm saying is that you're destroying the nuclear family, and that's what liberals want to do.
No, we don't
They
want
to do.
No, we don't want to destroy the nuclear family. We want to uphold human well-being, and abuse doesn't do that. Like, for
don't,
example,
though.
let's go with
You
the
don't wanna-
let's
you
go
don't
let's
like
go
the
with
nuclear
let's go
family.
let's go
You're
with
angry
the
with it.
hold on. I just told you from the beginning, I have no problem with mother, father, children. I just define nuclear family differently than you do, because different cultures have a different nucleus. Like, you accept that, correct?
You said a nuclear family. You said that a nuclear family is cousins, friends,
Right.
aunts,
So
uncles.
that shows to me that
That's
you weren't
not the
listening.
definition-
I was
hold on,
that shows
that's
to me
not
that you
the
weren't listening to me.
definition of a nuclear
Okay, so
family.
you weren't
A
listening to me.
nuclear family
Okay,
is
hold on.
mother,
Hold
father,
on.
children.
Hold on.
That's it.
231. 231.
There's only one definition.
231. You're not listening to me. I said culturally, in my culture, nuclear family is not just mother, father, children. It's also the extended family,
In any
like grandma.
culture-
Oh, no,
in
not
any
in any culture. Not in any culture.
In any
not in any culture.
nuclear family is mother, father.
Are you
children.
Haitian? Are you Haitian?
No, I'm not.
So you can't tell me about my culture, can you?
I'm saying in every.
No. Stop.
Look
Stop.
it up.
I'm
Look
gonna
it
mute you. I'm gonna
Look
mute
it
you if you
up
don't
on
stop.
your AI.
I'm going to mute you if you don't stop. Are you Haitian? Yes or no?
I already answered this.
So can you tell me about my culture?
I can tell you about.
No.
nuclear-
Can you tell me about my culture?
Did I ask you about your culture?
But I said from the beginning, culturally, in my culture, nuclear family is not just mother, father, children, didn't I? And you said in any culture is like that. So you can't tell me about mine.
The definition of nuclear family.
I
in the
understand that's the
dictionary
definition
is
that we
mother,
see in the
father,
dictionary.
children.
I understand that was what we see in the dictionary. I'm saying culturally, we define it differently. In my culture, your nuclear family is not just your
wasn't-
mother, father, and your children.
wasn't
It's
talking about
also,
your
I understand that, but that's my point. My point is that nuclear family,
making
my
any
point
good
is,
point, though,
listen to
because-
my, but you're not listening. My point is that I understand that conservatives define it as mother, father, children. What I'm saying is that there's no problem with that. Leftists don't have an issue with that. Well, what we say is that nuclear families are not only defined that way. There are more than just that type of family. Healthy families have other dynamics other than mother, father, children. You understand that, right?
I never once said that. They
Cool.
Don't have any
Cool.
other family
So,
dynamic.
all right, cool. So, if you understand that healthy families could come in other dynamics, the point that
said
leftists,
nuclear hold
I
on,
understand
hold
that.
on.
What I'm saying is that. What I'm saying is
trying
that.
to
What I'm saying is
dissolve-
that. What I'm saying is that we don't have an issue with
Why don't you
nuclear
just
families.
concede
What we're
the
saying
point
is
and let's
that.
move on to the next one. I
Becau-
mean, why don't you
because-
just
be-
concede the fact that
because-
you're wrong about
No,
the nuclear
no.
family,
I'm not gonna
and that
concede. I'm
conservatives
not
want
gonna
to
concede that
preserve
point.
the nuclear
I'm not
family,
gonna, because
and
you're
that
wrong.
leftists
Because you're
like
wrong.
you
Because
want
you're
to
wrong.
dissolve
Because you're
the
wrong.
nuclear
Because you're
families. Why
wrong.
don't you- why
Because
don't
you're
you-
wrong. Because you're wrong. And I'm gonna keep saying it that you are wrong.
Okay. All right.
Did I ever? Hold on. Did you ever hear me say that I don't want the fathers and the mother in the home? Did you hear me say that?
Why don't you
Hold on.
bring
Wait.
somebody
Stop.
else on?
Did you hear me say that?
I think.
Right. So, oh, you think you heard me say that I don't want the fathers in the
I
home?
don't remember, bro. I don't remember.
Exactly. This is the problem.
You
So
said
two three
so
one. Hold on.
many
Stop. Stop.
you
Stop.
were
Stop.
wrong,
Two
you
three
were
one.
wrong, sir.
Two three
My
one.
my
This is
my
the
head is
problem.
ringing.
This is the problem. This is the problem. Y'all don't listen. I never said anything about the father not being in the home and dissolve. Hold on. I never said anything about the father not being in the home. I never said anything about the mothers not treating their children right. I never said anything about that. So why would you believe I want to dissolve the family? Why would you believe that if I never said it?
I didn't say that I didn't say that
You said
believe
leftists like you
I
want to
said-
dissolve the
I
nuclear
said
family. That's what you
leftists
said.
Believe that.
No, leftists don't believe that. That's what I'm saying. Leftists don't believe that. We believe that there are more than just. We believe that healthy families can come in more than one dynamic. So we should promote healthy family dynamic, not just mother, father, children. Because again, like I said, there could be parents who are abusive. There could be mothers and fathers who are abusive. So we just can't promote mother, father, children. We should be promoting. Hold on. We should be promoting healthy family dynamics. And mother, father, children are not necessarily the healthiest dynamic. That's the point. We don't want to say don't have a nuclear family. No one said that. For some reason, y'all believe that. For some reason, y'all believe when we say,
dynamic?
hold on,
Hold
so
on, hold
the
on,
healthiest
let me ask you this.
dynamic,
What's
the
the
healthiest dynamic, the healthiest dynamic is when the mother, father, children, uncles, parents, the parents of the children raise them in the in a healthy way, meaning mentally healthy, emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent, financially stable, and able to be with them. That's what that's the healthy
And
dynamic.
you don't think that that starts with the mother and the father? and the
No,
children
because
in the home?
again, mothers and fathers can be abusive or not be stable. So it's whoever is the most
Bro,
stable.
we're never gonna agree. So why don't you go to your other people and I'll be on the sidelines listening if that's cool with you.
All right,
I
cool.
don't think we're getting anywhere. Go ahead and talk to somebody else, bro.
All right, appreciate
But
you
I,
being up. All right, so we're gonna. I appreciate y'all being here. We're at about 3K likes. I appreciate the 230 people who are watching. We're gonna move on to One Gala. I believe your name is One Gala. Guala.
Yes, sir. What's
All
going
right.
on?
I'm all right, Guala. How's it going? I'm gonna go ahead and put 15 minutes on the clock. Are you 18 or over, and do you think I should be a conservative
Yes. So, where you at now?
in
So
America?
if
I
you're not
guess.
conservative, what are you now? What would you see yourself?
Oh, I'm a leftist. I'm a leftist in the same vein of Malcolm X, Huey P. Newton, MLK. I'm that type of leftist.
So that's pretty general, but if just so we're on the same page and I don't misunderstand you in any kind of way, can you give me a brief breakdown on what that means?
That means I believe in social justice and policies that increase those social justice and increase human well-being essentially.
Okay, so I don't understand when you name those names. Why would you separate yourself from the word conservative? Because they were conservatives.
Malcolm X wasn't a conservative, neither was MLK, neither was Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton was a Marxist.
Okay, well, I wasn't thinking about the Huey PK, but Martin Luther King was definitely.
No, he
And-
wasn't. He said he's a no.
Yeah.
He said he's a socialist that believes in reparations.
Okay, so are you only bringing up reparation topics as like if somebody's a conservative or something else?
No, I'm just saying that he wasn't a conservative. Like there is no conservative that believes in socialism and reparations.
Got you. So why would you be against conservative?
I'm not against it. I just don't see a good reason to be one.
Okay, so with now how things are, right? Because it sounds like those things of like when somebody says, "Oh, Democrats this and Republicans that," right?
Mhm.
And it's and Democrats are more like, nowadays, right? Where they say that Republicans are like the bad guys now, but back then they were the good guys, and Democrats now are the good guys, but back then they were the bad guys. Is this kind of that situation going on right now?
No, they're both the bad guys.
I agree. Okay. So you do believe in like the family structure and all that, and a family foundation and all that?
Yeah, I have no issue with the family foundation. I just want healthy families. I don't think that that comes in, you know, a certain dynamic. You can have mother, father. You can have two fathers, two mothers, grandmas, grandpas, uncles, cousins, whoever raises you the best. Healthy family dynamic.
Okay, when you say healthy dynamic, what do you consider healthy? Because I know that can go for anybody. Everybody's different with healthy, right?
Meaning mentally stable, financially stable, emotionally intelligent, things like that.
Okay, would you not see that like passing on like wisdom and being awareness and not being naive and all that be, you know, a big thing to be a part of the play?
Of course.
Okay, okay. So I would say that, you know, hearing this, I mean, well, I guess when you say it like that, it would really depend on who's who, right? Like when you say two dads, it's like who those two dads. The specifics matter a lot, right? Like it just can't be just any two dads or any two moms.
Yeah, I can't just be two dads and two moms. If they're emotionally abusive, then yeah, that's not a healthy family.
Right. Usually it's one. Usually it's like a good cop, bad cop dynamic, right? If there's one bad, there's the other that's not.
Yeah, there's that dynamic does happen a lot, right? Where there's one person who plays more of the disciplinarian, and another person who plays a little bit more nurturing role, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that happens all the time. My parents used to do it all the time. Like my dad was more of the disciplinarian than my mom, and there were some things that where my mom was more disciplinarian than my dad. Like for my dad, it was grades. For my mom, it was hygiene. You know what I mean? My dad used to always come in and be like, "You better make sure you clean this room up before your mom comes home." And if I had like a B on my report card, my mom would tell you better be able to explain that B or that C to your dad. You see what I'm saying? So they were disciplinarians in different ways.
Okay, I got you. And what were you and the other guy previous like going back and forth about? Because I kind of came in a little too late.
He was saying that conservatives want to uphold the nuclear family, which is the best for society, and leftists want to dissolve it. And I was telling him that leftists don't want to dissolve any type of family. We just want to uplift the most healthy family possible, the most healthiest dynamic possible, and we do that through certain policies.
Okay. And what makes you think that? Are you saying like the Democrats don't want to do that?
Democrats don't want to do that. Democrats don't even want to pass health care. So
Okay, so when you say they want to have a strong family foundation, what gave you proof of that? That they do want to do that?
who? Leftists?
Yeah, the Democrats.
I just said not the Democrats. The Democrats don't want to do that. They Democrats don't even want to pass health care.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, okay, okay, I got you. It's just because from what we see, it seems like they would rather support a strong like single motherhood kind of thing.
No, I would say even they don't. They don't want to support that. They just want to the mothers that are out there. They just want to make sure that they're supported.
Right. Support it. To stand alone.
No, that doesn't mean they should be alone. No one is saying for them to be alone. No one's saying that.
You stand alone. Because it's like an ego thing, right? So if you raise your kids by yourself, they see it as like a badge of honor and like, oh, I'm strong kind of thing. I think that's where we're at in society. Where it's like, oh, I'm doing this all by myself. It shows like it's like a badge of strength or something.
I
That
mean,
a
it kind of is, but that doesn't mean that that's like the ideal. Like you just go out there, bust it wide open, and stay a single mom. No one is promoting that as the ideal.
I think it is promoted as the ideal nowadays. That's
By
why
who?
it's happening. But it's happening so rapidly. I mean, if it's one or two, I could see your point. But if it's happening in such a staggering rate, especially if you look through through the decades and stuff, I don't think it's random.
What like the amount? I mean, we can go on to like a huge studies on why it happens. You feel me? But I don't think that it's happening because people are saying this is what you should do. Like no one is doing that. Like you can't really find any party or any organization that says go out there and get women pregnant to make them a single mom. Like no one's doing that unless you're talking about like Myron Gaines or
It's
somebody like that.
forward or direct though. It's never gonna be that direct.
Right, but like who's even saying it indirectly? Like, well, I mean, of course you can bring up policies like what happened in the '70s when the father couldn't be in the home, like that caused issues, right? I think everyone agrees there that that caused massive amount of issues. So that's why that policy doesn't exist anymore.
But why would they? Okay, but why would they do that in the first place?
It was based on the assumption that the men were going to be working anyway. So that means that if you're on the system, but there's a man in the house, he's the one that's working. He's bringing in money. He's bringing in money. So basically, they didn't want people like leeching off the system until we found out that number one, that was causing a lot of single motherhood and poverty, and number two, there are times where the father is not working, so they're still going to need the help, but it was based on the assumption that the man is working, and we know that's not true anymore.
Okay. Okay, and then that's when everything tended to follow up.
Yeah, that's when they changed the. Yeah, exactly. That's when they changed the policy because they realized that number one, the man is not always working, and number two, just because he is doesn't mean they're able to make the ends meet. So that's why they changed the policy.
Okay, so where would you say the whole feminism thing came along?
That came along because of course women were oppressed at that point. There was a time where women couldn't vote, right, or they couldn't have like assets without a man signing off on it. So that's where that came from.
Okay, and you would say that would be like considered like oppression?
Yeah, it's pretty much oppression. If I'm not allowed to vote, then I'm not allowed to have representation, then you're not going to care about my needs.
Okay, I just have like a different like view of like oppression, like, oh, you can't go into the store and shop kind of oppression, but I see you're talking on a lighter note.
Oh, just one last thing. Hey, Reggie, I do see you there. I don't really want you to play devil's advocate. I kind of don't really like devil's advocate, but you can stay up if you want. If we can discuss something else if you like. But yeah, go ahead, Guan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really I forgot what we were going where we were at. Let me see. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you said you're not. You already know, like, left or right is not in the favor of the people, right?
What do you mean, like the Democrats or Republicans? I think the Democrats are better than the Republicans, but I don't trust them as I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, basically.
Right. I mean, even if we were to like, I mean, because we got that audio tape, right, about how they had strategies just to like, how to keep like black people voting for Democrats for the next 70 years, even when it's not even beneficial.
You're talking about the LBJ quote. Yeah, there's that. There's also the quote that if you convince the poorest white man that he's better than the richest black man, then he'll empty his pockets for you. Like, so what? There's lots of these quotes.
Yeah, which one is more harmful?
That's kind of oppression Olympics. I don't think
I would think the first one would be worse than the second.
No, I think the second one is more harmful, and we see the second one being more harmful because that's how we got Trump.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the worst thing Trump has done? It hasn't been worse than what Trump has done. Has not been worse than what those two things have been implemented on. Because those things where you gotta those quotes happen at a very crucial time in history. It's about timing, and then it shows the ingenuity about their mindset at that time. And that wasn't just one person. There's a team behind that voice, that plan, that idea, all of that. There was a team behind that. And that thing is deeply constructed.
Yeah, there was also a team behind Lee Atwater.
Okay, go for it.
You know what the Southern strategy is, right?
Go for it.
The Southern strategy was a strategy to convince Southern whites to vote Republican by appealing to their racial sensibilities. For example, Lee Atwater said, you can't go out there and say N-word, N-word, N-word. That's going to backfire on you because society is not there anymore. So what you have to do is now talk about stuff like states' rights, talk about law and order, become so abstract that people don't understand what you're talking about. But the end effect is that black people are damaged and white people are not. And now to this day, you have conservatives talking about DEI, affirmative action, and states' rights and law and order, et cetera, but all of these are dog whistles to attack black people, basically, and they don't even know that they're saying it. Like, if you talk to a regular conservative today and you ask them what exactly is affirmative action or DEI, they'll say that it's black people who are unqualified getting jobs. They have no idea what it is, and that causes damage.
And you consider those as like attacks, like
Tho-
verbal attacks.
Those are attacks, because anytime that if I were to get a position, like if I graduated from HBCU, right? But the moment that I become a manager somewhere at my workplace, and people know I'm a manager at my workplace, they're going to assume that I got it by special privilege instead of my work. You see the same thing in
whatever they want. What does that mean? That doesn't change nothing. If
it.
you let me
It
tell
does.
you something.
It does change something, because then they vote for politicians who will put in policies that will harm me.
Yeah, and what kind of things would harm you that they would put in place
What do you mean?
that you're referring to? You said that they would put things in place that would harm you. What would harm you? Because let me tell you something. If you have confidence, you have the background, you have the resume and all that, you're unstoppable.
That's untrue.
I don't have none of those things.
That's
and
untrue.
I can tell you, my top game and confidence has blew me through way far past so many others.
Right. No,
Because
I
those
that
things
that's
break down the door.
that's great. That's great. But like, there's research that shows that black people with similar degrees, similar experience, and similar resumes get turned down for jobs at a higher rate than white people with those same degrees or same resumes or even less qualifications.
So how did they get that study?
They actually what they did was they sent resumes out that had the same type of qualifications, only they had one put that they're black and the other one put that they're white, and the white one got higher callbacks. Or they would have the white one have less qualifications than the black one, and the white one still had more callbacks. So that's how they know it was race.
Now there's a few things that could be included in that, right?
No.
Yeah.
If we hold on, bro, let me ask you a question. If we send out 10,000 resumes to Google, right? 5,000 of them were black and 5,000 of them were white. But then when we get the callbacks, we see that all 5,000 of the white ones got a callback, but only 2,000 of the black ones had a callback. But they're the same exact resume. The only difference is one of them says James and the other one says Jamal, and one of them says white and the other one says black. What would that say about Google?
What would that say about Google?
Yeah. Let me give the example I said again. We send 10,000 resumes to Google. 5,000 of those resumes is a white applicant. The other 5,000 is a black applicant. For the white applicant, we put names like James Tyler or something like that. For the black applicant, we put names like Jamal or Ty Travius, things like that. All 5,000 of those white applicants got a callback. 2,000 of the black applicants got a callback. What would that say about Google?
Are you familiar with human psychology?
Yes, I'm familiar with. That's what I'm studying.
Okay, so basic human psychology. You don't think that like there's a thing like, I'm not saying you're wrong or right, but do you not think that there's like some type of like cultural differences that somebody's gonna rather want somebody who has the same likeliness of mindset and ideas or like same cultural, things that they would want to be more around them than somebody else?
Right. So racism.
it's not racism.
Sure, it is.
The reason I don't say it's racism, because I wouldn't say it's racism if you was in that position and you did that for your own self. It's not racism.
No,
It's who
that
you
would
would, who,
that's
who
clearly
you would rather
discrimination, my
want to
friend.
be with.
That's clearly
Yeah,
discrimination, my friend. That's clear
that's
discrimination.
human nature. Then it
Be-
might just be human nature, to be honest.
so th- so so so
If there's nothing
discrimination
that
is.
if
So you're okay with
if there's nothing
discrimination?
that separates, hold on, I'm sorry. If there's nothing that separates either two applicants, right? Background wise, is that what you're saying?
You're right. They did
Right.
multiple studies doing this, but as a matter of fact, and they saw that the white ones always got called back at a higher rate.
Okay, so if we was to flip that around and it was a black person, you would think that it would be he would go for the other black person because it's more like-minded, right?
No,
It's
not
just
not really. I'm not sure if they ever did any studies on it, but I'm pretty sure they just go off the merit of the
I mean, if you're a
application.
social guy, if you're a social guy, it's pretty like natural, right? Like you if you can look at how like prison works, right? Not to use this as the best example, but everybody, they kind of flock to each other, like-minded, right? In groups. It's just the human nature. It's all like I forgot what it's called, but the tribal thing, right? So if they both have the same resume, I mean, there's not really much to set you apart. I mean, unless you guys are both unless he hanged out with both of you guys and you became cooler than the white guy, then yeah, I could you could see it. But if he's just looking at two papers, I mean, this is what it is.
I'm kind of lost on where you're going with this, bro. You're
Chelsea.
like we're trying to point out. Hey Chelsea, give me 1 second. What I'm trying to point out is the obvious problem here, where if you have a type of society where they're going to assume that the only reason that I get a job or get into certain positions is because I didn't get it on merit. They just think that I'm a certain race. Obviously, that's going to cause issues within that society. You don't think that's going to cause any issues?
Uh, I haven't in real life. I haven't seen any of that happen. To be honest, I can see people try to stir things up on the news and stuff, but in real life, I have not seen that. I can honestly say that.
Yeah,
I don't know. If you,
Privilege.
I don't know if you have seen that, but I haven't.
yeah, because I've been DWB'd before. You know what that is, right?
No, sir.
Driving while black. No reason to
Oh.
stop me. They stop me because I'm black.
Yeah, but you can't blame the whole department for one person.
Yeah,
That
sure
I
I can, because research into policing has shown that there's a huge racial bias. Yeah, you ever heard of the Veil of Darkness study?
Okay, so let me tell you this, right? So if a lot of people don't like what the cops are doing, how about more people of color apply to be a cop instead of just trashing them? How about in droves, in groups?
Are you a person of color?
I'm not talking to you right now, but look,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
It's just a
nothing
question.
Personal. I am, but look, the only way you're gonna change something is if you get people to join it. If you don't and you just yap trying to bitch at somebody's ear talking about, oh, we want better, it's not gonna happen if
You
you're not
realize?
seeing better.
Have you
I'm just-
have you ever heard the song "Fuck the Police"?
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard what Ice Cube said, right? Don't let
That's
it be.
not- bro,
Hold on, wait,
that's not-
wait. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Fuck the
Let me
whole
finish.
thing.
Because you heard what he said, right? Don't let it be a black and a white one, because the black one will slam you down to the street top. Black police showing out for the white cop.
Bro, you can't put that on everything though.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
can't
Hold on,
call
listen.
black cops, bro.
Listen. I know that. I understand that there are plenty of. I understand that there are plenty of cool black cops. They're really cool. There are plenty of cops, period, who are all good and
white
well, right?
cops.
Yeah, sure. There are plenty of cops, period, who are cool people. I understand that. What we're talking about is the entire system of policing in America is racialized, and they go after black people specifically. This has been studied multiple times.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Well, see, what this person is not getting is a lot of historical context. It sounds to I'm just gonna speak freely. He's uneducated about over policing, and he's uneducated about the system in the conception of policing within itself. Like there was no police in antebellum enslavement, slavery. Like that is something that was created post antebellum slavery during the Jim Crow period. So when he talks about policing and all of these things, it's not racialized. We live in a racialized country. It is racialized.
I never
Like
said it
there's
was racist.
racialized history to go along with that, and it shows that most urban areas, most disenfranchised areas, they're disenfranchised for a reason, are over policed to not
did I ever say
protect,
that
but
that
to
wasn't
create more
happening?
harm, but to create a system and an environment of stress. That's what it is.
Okay,
That's all
so
it is.
when did I say anything otherwise?
I mean, you've been implying it.
No, don't imply
You said,
nothing.
and
Don't
you
imply
said,
nothing.
oh, instead of
I don't
bitching about
imply
the
nothing.
system, you should get more black people on a police force. There's reasons why, you know, some black people are on a police force and some people are not. But it's when you live in a country that's very hierarchical, very racial, you have something called internalized racism. You have something called, you know, these things that some black people, some people of color, exhibit. Some people of color wrestle with. You have self-hatred, like they will try to show out in front of a racist YT cop in order to just proclaim that, look, I'm one of the boys, I'm one of you. Just like what happened in Memphis in 2023 with like I think it was 7 black police officers unalived a black man. You
Okay,
know,
how often does that
so
happen?
it
How
happens
often
all the
does that
time.
happen?
But if
How
you're not,
often?
if you
It
don't
happens all the
research these
time?
things, if you don't read the new
now.
Jim Crow, if
You're
you
not-
don't watch 13th documentary, if you don't
Oh my
understand the
God.
history
You live
of
in fear.
America, you're easily led astray, and you're easily
You
to say
live in
stupid things
fear.
like,
Okay,
why
everybody.
can't we do this? Why can't we do that? When those practices,
Oh.
those so-called solutions have already been implemented, and it came out to be void. It came out to not even help the system within itself.
You live
So
in
it's just like I
fear.
feel like it's very disingenuous for you to even ask a black man operating in America, Black
Oh my
America,
God.
these
Fear,
questions
fear,
within
fear.
itself, and you claim you're a people of color. These things affect you too. If you are a person of color, like you can walk around with rose-colored glasses, but you need to educate yourself.
You need to talk smarter. First, you said I'm implying, which I never implied nothing.
I need
First
to do.
off, How do you hold on? How do you think you're gonna change the police force? How do you think you're gonna change the police force?
We changed the
if you don't want to recruit.
we
If you
changed
don't wanna
we changed the
recruit-
police force.
Hey,
We changed the
hold on,
police
please, let me-
force.
You said you
sorry.
need to talk
Hold on.
smarter.
I'm sorry. Let me just get this
All right,
out real quick,
I'll let you get it out, and then I'll reply. Go ahead.
and I'll let you talk. You gotta stop shaming.
It's his
black-
platform,
oh,
baby.
Oh my God.
No, I'm
He'll
no,
let
I'm
you
I'm I'm letting him go. I'm letting him go. I'm letting him go. Go ahead and go ahead, Guan. Go ahead and
Let me
finish up.
mute my mic.
No,
I've been
all good,
around
Chelsea.
for a time. I've been around for a time, and one thing I noticed is that black people who don't who are out and about, they would shame a black cop who's trying to do right and trying to serve the community right. They give them way more of a harder time because that NWA and because of that menace, the Bernie Mac.
Sounds
That
so
part.
slow. I
With the
grew
Bernie
up with a
Mac,
black
it's
police
because
officer.
of that. And
I
these
grew up with a
dudes-
black police
these-
officer. He's
can I
retired
talk?
MPD. You
Okay.
sound insane. And for you to be, I think you're Hispanic,
not-
maybe you're
they're not-
inebriated,
look,
but
they're
you
not
need
worried
to
about-
educate
look,
yourself more.
Black,
You need
look,
to educate
cops
yourself
are not
more
worried about black
this
females.
country and
They're
what
worried
and
about
how it
black men.
operates. You need to educate yourself.
not
and stop,
smart
and
enough.
stop.
You're not
stop.
smart
You're
enough
not
to
smart
talk.
enough. Are you drunk?
All right,
You
everybody
sound
pause.
like you're
Everybody
making a
pause.
statement
Everybody pause.
about
Everybody
black
pause.
people when you're not.
Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Okay, so
You
Guan.
ain't smart enough. This man sound like he drunk.
I got you, Chelsea. I got you. All right. So go on because we have to keep it rolling because Reggie hasn't even said anything yet. I want to get him in on this. All right. So Guan, when you talk about how do we change the system of policing, the way that we change the system of policing is that we actually have to tear everything down and build it all the way back up from the beginning. And the reason why that is because since the beginning of this country, the system of policing has been used to go after black people specifically. It started off with slave catchers. Hey, what's going on, Courtney?
How do you turn
It started
out-
off. Hold on, wait. It started off with slave catchers. So the way that we tear everything down is that we have to go all the way back to to the beginning. The system of policing that we have now, essentially what we need to do is have more community enforcement, meaning every single cop right now has to probably be completely re-educated. You have to have certain qualifications to even be a police officer. And then we need more resources that go to things that police officers shouldn't be even doing in the first place, meaning that homelessness, wellness checkups, welfare, all those other good things, those shouldn't be on police at all. Police should only be around to keep the peace. That should be it. They should be taught de-escalation techniques. They should be go back to school to get degrees in psychology, which I believe they should be getting those degrees, or social justice, or any of those things like that. And not only that, they should have the same type of training that people in the military get. In the military, even in a war zone, you have to have a reason why you let off your gun. If you do not have that reason, you will be in massive trouble. And you can ask anybody. You can ask anybody
As a
who
US
was.
Navy veteran, you get a ROI card, and if you violate those rules and on that ROI card, yeah, that's your ass.
You
homie.
get in massive
You are
trouble.
going to the brig. You're going to captain's mast.
Exactly.
You know,
There should be a reason why you pulled your weapon. Even pulling it, there should be a reason. All right. Otherwise, you're gonna get in massive trouble. All of that is how we redo policing. And as a matter of fact, my idea is very, very reformist. There are people who say we should abolish police. Period. I don't think that's possible at this time. But there are people who say that. You feel what I'm saying?
Bro,
So
that's not
I'm a
even
reformer.
realistic. It's not even realistic.
I don't think it's
Why you
possible at this
say
time.
something like that?
I don't think it's
You're
possible at this
never
time.
going to. America's not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, of
At
course.
all.
I don't think it's possible
Get
at this
that out your
time.
mind.
But you should
Get
talk
it
to
out
a
your mind.
right. So hold on, go on. Listen, I didn't say that we should do that, but there are people who argue
No,
that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got you. There are people who argue that about police abolition. I just don't see how it would work. But if there's a police abolitionist in the comments, they can come up and they can explain how that would work, because I don't know, right? But for me, I'm more of, yeah, you have to reform everything. The first thing that I would do is body cams that cannot be shut off on every single police officer everywhere around the country, and everyone is required to report everything to the FBI. So these crime statistics that we have that are not complete, and we know they're not complete, all of it has to be reported. All of it. That's what I'll reform. But go on. I'm gonna get back to you real quick because Reggie has been patient and he hasn't said anything.
Finish off because I did get cut off, and I want to let Reggie talk as well. Okay. The thing is, what I'm trying to say is, what if somebody, a person of color, wants to be a cop? I've seen this happen before. They get shamed, and it's like, even if he wants to do good for the community, he doesn't get props. He doesn't get welcome. Not like how white people prop up white cops. That's the thing I'm trying to tell. If you go ahead from the inside out, you will make a difference. If
Are
you
you
get
drunk?
more young black cops with the right mindset, it's gonna happen. I'm telling you. That's facts.
No. I mean, we have to.
Somebody can't tell me nothing.
No, we
Yeah,
can.
go
We have to
ahead.
change the culture of policing first, because the culture of policing is not
How
about,
do
you know,
think-
helping.
That's what I just said. You
Right.
change the culture.
By you
Yeah,
said
go
we
ahead.
changed the culture by adding more black people. The problem is that when we did add more black people, all they did was fall in line with the culture that was already there, which was racism.
the culture of the
And where is
police
that- and
force,
where was
not
that
the
at?
culture of the black people in specific, but culture of that demographic, but the culture of the police force. Like every company and organization has a culture. Police force has a culture which is very akin to gang culture. There's been studies about that too. So it's just like you would have to change the
certain
culture,
places,
an entire
in certain
overhaul.
places, it's not in the wide broad band of everything. In certain places, yeah, you're right, but there's a lot of whole other places where they just reacting to whoever's doing what. You
Right,
know, it's
right,
not
and
like-
and that's the issue. They're a reactionary force. Let me give me 1 second, Guan, because Reggie has been sitting here for like 20 minutes.
Because I want some.
Chelsea, I wish I could just drop some knowledge on you, because I feel like I
Oh,
can
Every-
Everybody pause. Everybody pause.
I
Everybody
was
pause.
right.
Everybody pause. Everybody pause, please.
You
Everybody
gotta
pause,
let
please.
me get a second.
Go on. I got you. Everybody pause, please, because Reggie has been patient for like the past 20 minutes, and I haven't let him go yet.
You're right.
Bro, Reggie, how's it going, bro? I know you're more of a friendly of mine. I don't like, devil's advocate. I just don't. But go ahead. What you wanted to say, bro?
Yeah, no problem. So there was only so there were a few things that I think I had an issue with. And one, it was, so first of all, I wouldn't say I'm a raging liberal, but I'm quite the liberal.
Mhm.
I'm not the going to going to the most recent marches liberal. I think that's a little silly. But I'm definitely liberal. So first, you said that Democrats didn't pass health care, but they passed the ACA. And I think at the heart of it is that's not the health care that I think everybody wants, right? Like everybody would want Medicaid for all, like in a just world, right? But they did expand Medicaid. And you have situations now where 1 out of every 10 Americans are on the ACA. With the expansion of Medicaid, it covers up to between 90 and 100% of the cost for people who are at poverty level or slightly above poverty level, and that's many Americans. I just looked up the stat here, and it says 3 out of every 4 ACA recipients are actually from Trump states. A couple other issues too. Like we would say AB is healthcare, right? And while we did something stupid and we never codified it because went after the ACA instead of codifying Roe, I would say that we're fighting for that part of healthcare as well within the judicial system. And now even with like this whole, got passed on to the states, I think we're doing a good job over there. And then also you have gender affirming care, which I just looked up, and Kamala supported since 2019. That's another form of healthcare. So that's I think 3 forms of healthcare that I think Democrats we have been really fighting for.
Okay. No, I should correct myself. That is my mistake. I should have said universal health care, Medicare for all, things like that. You know what I mean? That hasn't been passed, and I think that the only reason that hasn't is because of infighting. The only reason we don't have the public option is because of Joe Lieberman, and I think I'll probably never forgive him for that. That's the only reason we don't have the public option. You know what I mean? But like that, that's what I mean. I think Democrats should be a lot stronger than what they've done so far. But everything that you brought up is exactly the reason why I think they're better than Republicans. I would rather them than Republicans, but I think they need to get a stronger line when it comes to not just healthcare, but when it comes to universal education, when it comes to guaranteed housing, living wages, codifying Roe. That should have happened under Obama. Definitely should have happened under Obama. And seeking a much harder line against Israel. You know what I mean? That's what I think should happen, and that's my only really big issue with them. Oh, and of course there's environmentalism, environmental justice that needs to be. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but everything that you pointed out is exactly the reason why I support them more than I support Republicans, or I don't support Republicans at all because they just become the Trump fascist party essentially. But yeah, I do align more with what you're saying, Reggie. I do.
Reggie, I'm gonna go ahead and follow you. I gotta drop because I got class in 5 minutes, integrative capstone class. I'm actually getting my master's in social work, so I love these type of conversations, this dialogue, and just I feel like there needs to be an overhaul of American politics. It's just like I don't want to be controversial, but it's just like I feel there maybe need to be a ratification of this 2-party system because it's not really helping at all. And it's just like, these are the conversations that I can have in class, but it's just like at the grand scheme of things, it's working how it's meant to be working, with the haves and have-nots and capitalism, but it's not helping. It's too many people are falling by the wayside. Too many American people are suffering because of this wicked capitalist system. But yeah, I gotta go to class. I hope y'all have a great day.
Nah, don't go.
No problem, Chelsea. I appreciate you.
I gotta go to class. I'm getting an education. I get drunk.
She gotta go to class.
What?
Yeah, right after this live, I gotta go ahead and do it and finish my. I'm in a master's program, so after this live, I gotta finish my homework. Chelsea, I appreciate you. Stop drinking.
Girl, stop being boring.
Chelsea, I appreciate you. Like, yeah, because right after this live, I got homework to get to. Cho's path. I see you there, bro. But you're friendly. I need to get more opposition up here. But
So on that note, I'm just gonna drop. But yeah, good luck with talking to this other guy.
Not a problem, Reggie. Hey, follow me. I definitely want to know more. Let me ask you, when it comes to like, do you work closely with Democrats at all?
So no, I don't work closely with them, but it's something where it's like in the future, that's something I think I want to do.
Mhm.
We got a lot of problems, man. It's like you said. You said, you brought up Palestine,
Mhm.
right? And I think most people on our side would probably say to the higher ups, "Hey, you really screwed up."
Mhm.
If that was one thing I think they could take back, or I would want them to take back, it would be that, because at the end of the day, that pretty much goes against a lot of what we stand for. At least in 2025, I know that a lot of people did stand for that probably in 1995,
Mhm.
right? But even then, you had the Oslo Peace Accords and whatnot. So it's funny that we went from that moment to 2024, where our candidate can't even say, you know what, this is wrong.
Right,
You
right,
know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, I followed you. Yeah, man, I'll be checking out your live, man.
Bro, appreciate it, man.
Hey Reggie, quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
So what did you mean? What would you say? Good luck with this guy or something like that? What is it? What you mean by that? Or
Yeah. Good luck with you, man. Good luck with you. I don't think there's any
Give a
saving you, man.
breakdown.
I'm gonna be honest. I listened for like about a good minute, and then I just had to tune you out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had a whole
So,
entire thing where I was just
what
gonna
did
say,
you
hey,
say
that's
that was
interesting.
actually like a breakthrough?
Say that one more time.
I said, so what did you say that was actually like a good breakthrough? Like that's
What did
gonna
I-
be any type of change? Because you're a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how's that going?
Well, so here's the thing, right? After you lose, it's a good time to evaluate, to like do some self work. And I think that's what we need to do. I think people are already figuring out what to do right now. And then in 4 years, we're gonna see how this goes. But guess what? There was a time where we had 8 years under Bush,
Mhm.
right? And then we had Obama. There was a time where we had 8 years under Reagan, 4 years under Bush Senior, and then we had Bill Clinton for 8. So times like this is always a time where you can just reevaluate. And also, guess what? Those Democrat presidents who were elected into office took the country to a lot higher levels than those 8 years, those 12 years of Republican rule. So yeah, it doesn't look so good right now, but that's just not how this thing works.
So why'd you guys lose? Why did the Democrats lose then? If you if you got so much figured out and all that, and you guys go ahead.
So this is what I think. This is why I think we lost.
No, I don't think I know. So
You
tell
know?
me what you know.
You know? Okay,
Tell
so-
me what you know. Why'd
Alright,
you
cool.
lose?
Cool. So this is what I do know. I think that. So this is what I know. This is what I know. Let me just get the wording correctly for you, since you want to hear the exact words come out of my
I
mouth.
wish Chelsea was here so I could fry her next. Go ahead.
So I know for one that Joe Biden did not come out the race fast enough, right? We can all.
Why
admit
was
that.
he even the first choice out of
Why-
everybody?
Well, because he was president, right? And usually when presidents are in office, they usually run again, right?
Why was he the runner-up?
He was a runner.
What do you mean? Why was he the runner? What are you talking
Why
about?
Why was he the first thing that the Democrats put out? Is what I'm saying.
Because he was the president. The
Right.
president, the incumbent president usually always runs. So
Right.
like what should have happened is what Reggie is saying is that instead of running again, he should have been a transitional president and been said that he wasn't gonna run and let the DNC go ahead and do their entire thing.
Okay, so because usually this is what's supposed to happen. That's what should have happened, even though it was a bad choice. That's what you guys are telling me.
Well, at the end of the day, that choice
Don't
was
switch it.
correct.
You know what I mean.
At the end of the day, the choice
you
was
know
correct.
No,
exactly
I
what
have
I'm
no
saying.
I have no idea what you mean.
So because you're saying you said because this is how it usually goes. This is how it usually needs to happen. That's what you just said, literally. Word for
No,
word.
no, it's
And-
not. No, it's not. I said
But-
that the incumbent president usually always goes for the presidency when they're going to. Bro, you're gonna have to learn how to not cut people off and listen. I said that incumbent presidents usually always, the only time it hasn't happened was with Biden, and before him it was like 40 years ago with Gerald Ford, right? The incumbent president usually always goes for the presidency again. That usually always happens, right? Now, if Biden was in a health decline, which became apparent later, and kind of we all knew that, but the Democrats didn't want to put that out there. But since he was in a health decline, He should have always said, "I'm going to be a transitional president," and then set up the for Kamala to run next. That way, she would have had way more time to run for the office than the less than a year that she had. It was bad strategy. That's what happened.
Okay, so it was a bad move.
It was a bad move,
Kamala Harris
And
was a bad
inflation
move,
was
too.
high.
and inflation was
Kamala
high.
Harris was a
Yeah,
bad move too.
like putting Kamala like just
Kamala Harris was not a good choice.
right.
That's
So
all- that's
what,
all.
right. So what? Yeah. I think a lot of people would agree that Kamala Harris is probably not a good choice, right? My
That's
only
true.
issue with Kamala Harris is that she wasn't left enough.
So hold on, but that's two bad choices, right?
So
No,
let's
hold on.
explain that.
Just say
Hold
yes or
on,
no.
bro. You talked a
Please,
lot, my brother.
Reggie
You
and
talked a lot.
Mr. Volsi,
Mm-hmm.
My brother,
can you
you talked
please
a lot.
answer yes or no? Was those two bad choices?
Were those two bad choices? I would say no, and here's why. You have to let me provide context. You have to let me provide context. So let's just say there was a primary, right? After Joe Biden's primary, and somebody else was picked to be the nominee, right? If you're Kamala Harris, and this is my honest opinion, right? This is not something I know, this is my opinion, okay? If you're Kamala Harris and your party rejects you and you are the vice president, right? What does that say as your position as vice president? Why are you even there? If Joe Biden literally cannot pick you and say, hey, because you're literally the vice president, you're next in line, then if you're Kamala Harris, I would have said, I told people this at the time after the first debate. I said, if they don't pick her, she should resign because I don't know what she's doing there. And I know that's going to get different opinions across the board. But let's also talk about inflation because presidents all across the world who were around under C-19, a lot of them lost. And it's because you can't convince people that, damn it, the price of eggs, shit, it's not as significant as what we're going through right now. Because guess what? Inflation, grocery prices haven't come down. They haven't come
sorry.
down.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys think that Democrats are just identity politics at this point? Because I wouldn't see why somebody like a Joe Biden would ever pick Kamala Harris if you actually know his history. If
Not
you know
just
his history,
not just
you would
Democrats.
never go with Kamala
Right.
Harris
Not just not just Democrats. Every both parties are identity politics. What is that? What do you think MAGA is?
Biden was very much more straightforward on his ideals. I would
What do
say.
you mean?
So, he's just a very,
He was a
wants to
racist?
he wants to keep his what's that Southern terminology?
Biden
He
was a
wants to
racist?
keep beans from his cornbread. Yeah.
Biden's a racist. So no,
or
bro,
he just-
what you're trying to say is that Biden's a racist.
I haven't met him, so I can't tell you, but he does give off those racist traits. I
So
don't.
does
you know,
so does Trump. These are old
I
white
don't.
men.
I don't. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
you said
Old
what?
old white guys don't surprise me when they're racist, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Trump, he hanged out with black people.
Trump's a racist.
before it was-
Trump's a
hold
racist.
On, hold on. Let me see. I won't cut you. You won't cut me off, right? So let me just say this: Trump hanged out with black people before it was advantageous to hang out with black people. They have footage, and I think he yaps a lot, right? But I feel like you can make more of an agreement. He's more of a handshake guy. Like, okay, you do this, I do that. You can find a more common ground.
Can I ask you a question?
Do you know the amount of people that he's
Oh, but-
hired from the federal government? Do you know the amount of people, like right now, 300,000 black women are without jobs since the start of the year.
Oh,
Black
and
male unemployment is at 8%, the highest since 2021
And what job
during
field?
C-19.
And what job fields?
What?
In all
And
of
what
them,
job field?
across the industry, across the
No,
economy.
don't all of them. Give me specifics.
And
Details.
guess what he's doing right now? Guess
I
what
need
he's doing right now?
details.
So
I
so
don't live
go-
off
hold,
that.
hold on, everybody pause. Guan, we're talking about across the economy. When we say that unemployment being at 8% is the across the economy, they don't go into details. That's across the economy. Unemployment for black males, for black men, is at 8%. That's for the whole economy. Are you gonna say that? Oh, I want to know the percentage of unemployment for black males in technology. That's not how that works, bro.
To ask what industry it was? Is that
Bro.
too much to ask?
Yes, because that's not how unemployment is measured, dude.
Because
Hold on, Guan, stop. Listen. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said.
Okay,
That's
so
why-
don't just move on from that.
No,
I'm just move on from that. Hold on, listen,
saying, like,
listen, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm
let me
saying.
get this one word out.
Hold on, no. I'm not listening to get a word. You heard, did you listen to what I said? When unemployment is measured, they don't go by this industry has this unemployment, this industry had this unemployment. That's not how that works. It's across the economy. So black men being at 8% unemployment is across the economy. Asking for details on which industry is stupid.
What caused it?
Donald,
Yeah, well, Trump came in, but there are multiple things
No,
that could cause
don't do
unemployment.
that.
I don't know.
Don't do that. What caused it? Because
What caused
had to
what?
replace it.
What caused what?
Replaced it? If something.
What caused
if
what?
something gets taken out. Okay, let me respond. So if something gets if there's a loss of jobs or whatever, what replaced those loss of jobs? and keep
Nothing.
that
There are more
going?
unemployed people than there are jobs.
Okay.
That
so-
report came out 2 months ago.
Okay, so is it weird? Okay, like let's say, oh, this amount.
See you,
of
see you later,
people-
Reggie. Thank you so much.
Hold on. So if this amount of people lost jobs in the warehouse because AI or some machines took over the manufacturing, or I meant the warehouse packaging, I could see that, right? Or AI, or like, oh, the trucking industry got taken over by AI or something, and it had an impact because a whole bunch of black people had a whole bunch of jobs. That makes a, that's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're trying to understand why unemployment is at 8%.
Yeah.
There could be
And
multiple.
in what
there could be-
industry? In what industry? I think
Again-
that's a
again,
very valid question.
No, it's not a valid question because again, unemployment is not measured that way, bro.
I don't care how
unemployment-
it's measured. I'm
The-
trying to get the
so
full
so
scope.
Guan. You're saying that you don't care how it's measured, but you have to care because I can't give you that answer. You're asking a question
Okay.
that hold on, listen, bro. Listen. You are asking a question that cannot be answered because the measurement that we're using doesn't use that. That's like that's like asking me like I'm not even sure how to explain this. Like unemployment is not. Hold on, listen. Unemployment is not measured the way that you're asking. So saying which industries makes no sense.
It does make sense.
How does it make sense when what we're talking about is not measured the way that you're asking?
Because there's more than one way to measure something. Do you disagree?
Yeah, of course
You
there's
think
more than
there's
one
only
way to measure.
it?
Of course there's more than
Alright,
one way to measure it.
why we
But that's
disagree?
not what we're talking about.
No, I know that's not what we're talking about.
So why are you
There's
asking it?
only one way, but that doesn't mean there's only one way to do this.
No
thing.
one said
That's what
that, bro. What are you talking about? Go on. I'm
Going on.
starting to get a headache, bro. I'm starting to get a headache. What are you talking about, bro?
You're learning. what is the
question that you actually want to ask?
Okay, before I tell you that, right? There's no gain with no pain. When you get a headache, you're learning. Your
What the
brain's
fuck does that
growing.
mean? What question are you actually trying to ask,
Ain't
bro?
no gain is what I'm saying.
What question are you trying to ask me?
Okay, so when you say that, dude said this amount of what was it? How many black women lost jobs and stuff?
300,000
Where? Okay, and where were those jobs lost at?
in the federal government. They work for the feds.
Okay, and are these all the same job positions?
No, they're not all the same job positions because the federal government has several positions in different type of industries. But 300,000 women have. We know that 300,000 women have lost their jobs in the federal government. All these women have worked for the federal government and they all lost their jobs.
Okay, so what took it?
What do you mean? What took it?
Who took their jobs? Was it AI or was
Nothing
it
took their
computers?
jobs. They just because Trump did. Hold on, listen. Trump did a federal downsizing of employment basically. So nothing replaced those jobs. They just fired them. That's it. Nothing replaced the jobs.
Well, they were never useful from the start if they can do that, right?
No, that's incorrect. They were useful. Trump just doesn't know what he's doing.
If he can drop that many jobs and there's no like, oh my God, what are we gonna do next kind of thing, that means they weren't useful from the beginning.
No, they were useful. Just because. Okay, let me ask you this question. Have you ever gotten into a car accident?
Yes, sir.
when you got into that car accident, you had to report it to your insurance, and your insurance adjuster had to talk to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's just what job that I do. If I were to get fired, does that mean that my job is useless?
No.
Exactly.
Not to the insurance company.
Exactly. So that's what we're talking about. So when you say that because Trump fired these 300,000 women, their jobs were useless, that makes your point stupid.
The insurance adjuster is a different role compared to what you're talking about, though.
Right, but I'm making an analogy. You
Yeah,
just can't
and
say, hold on, listen. I'm making an analogy. You simply cannot say because these people were fired that means their job was useless. You can't say that
No,
because you have no
the
idea what they did.
An insurance adjuster in those roles, they're
Well,
important.
listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
No, you don't because you just keep going back. Just because they got fired doesn't mean that the job they did was useless. You cannot make that point. You cannot elucidate that.
What is an insurance adjuster, just to make sure?
No. We're not talking about that. That was just my analogy. We're not talking about that.
Because
That's my analogy.
That's more point. Hold
No.
on.
That was just an analogy. Listen to my
I know that.
the
I
point.
know
The
you-
point
I know
is
you're just-
exactly. But the point is, you can't go keep asking me the question about the analogy. The point is that just because they got fired doesn't mean their job was useless. You cannot elucidate that.
Okay, so has there been any shortcomings or anything within the in that industry, in that area?
Yeah, the
Has there
VA.
been- In the VA, is that not because of the government shutdown?
No, this was before the government shut down.
Because I mean, to be honest, I know vets, and the VA never had a good reputation from. the
I
start.
am a vet.
Okay, so you know that I'm saying the truth. They never had a good reputation.
And it's gotten worse.
Okay, so I mean, is that a Trump thing or is it bigger than Trump?
Oh yeah, no, it's bigger than Trump. He just made it worse.
All right then, that's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that he's making it worse.
In what way?
Also, the FDA, like, did you know how many food recalls happened ever since that Trump fired people from the FDA?
How many? Because I haven't heard of, and I'm pretty aware.
There's
you
been
know,
about
usually-
there's been about 4 to 5 food recalls because due to the FDA being short staffed.
Okay, and
And you realize how that's a bad thing, right? This is what we eat.
right. Okay, and what were those 4 things?
One of them was for beef. I think there was chicken. I think there was eggs, and there was a cabbage. There was a cabbage recall because there was E. coli. E. coli comes from shit, so that
Right.
that means that there were,
Yeah.
and there was E. coli as well. No, as and frozen food. As a matter of fact, we have someone who's a food inspector right now. There's been hundreds of recalls. I was wrong. I severely underestimated the amount of. I only said about 5 to 6. There's been hundreds, so I was wrong.
Recall?
Yeah, recalls meaning that they need to take the food back because the food is diseased, and this happened after Trump fired a whole bunch of FDA people. Not to mention he fired a whole bunch of people from the CDC. So we don't even know what diseases are out there right now. There could be a pandemic happening right now that we don't even know about.
Recalls have always been happening. There's no way around.
There are
There's-
always recalls, yes, but not as much as there are right now.
Okay, so how many people died
From what?
from recalls?
I
All
don't know.
those recalls, and how many died?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how many people died, but the fact is that there's. Hold on, wait, listen. Recalls don't happen just because people die. They happen when
I
they know a
didn't say
mistake
that.
happened. So why are you asking wow how many people died? That doesn't matter.
Because it gives you an understanding of the severity and
It
how
doesn't.
big the problem is.
It doesn't.
But let me ask you this, bro. America feeds everybody poison. That's why. What do you think keeps the hospitals and insurance companies alive? It's the industry they give you. Everything it's just. I'm not trying to make a pass on anything, but it's like, bro, like we're in a capitalist market. You know, they keep you sick, they keep you fat, so they can keep you on insurance and keeping the hospital, and it's just revolving doors. It's like they're not out for your best interest, you know? So it's just like, why would they give you Red 40 and all these other things when it's already been solved way back when, and they still feed you this bullshit? It's like, bro, what you think this is a Trump thing? Is way bigger than Trump, bro. They shot JFK in the head. Once when that happened, it's a turning point in America. All right, you know, you got to really factor this in. When they said that instead of fighting armies in the day and guerrillas at night or whatever they said, that's the turning point. All right, you got to understand, it's a money first market. Everything is this whole America thing. So when you say, oh yeah, there was some recalls or whatever, yeah, there's some recalls, bro. They're not looking out for your best interests at all, bro. They're not. And that guy who killed that insurance guy, I forgot his name, but he found out and he just took it into his own hands. But that guy was not a dumb guy. He's smart. He was smart, like educated is what I mean. Not smart because he shot a guy and killed him. But the CEO, when he killed the CEO, I don't know if you know that.
Okay,
but
so you're anti-capitalist then?
to a certain point,
There you go.
because it's good till it's not, right? And it's like we need regulations on capitalism, because if you don't,
Yeah, so
the beast-
Trump
the
is
beast
Trump
gonna
is
eat itself.
Trump is decreasing those regulations, so that means this is bad, right?
Bro, they got the regulations by there is no regulations. If you have money, they're gonna send you. If you're in a powerful place, right?
Right. So
The
all this is a bad
people-
thing, which means that those type of people, those type of billionaires shouldn't be running our society, correct?
Bro, they will send whoever's in power, right? Like in the chair, you know, the face, you know, the people that you see talking on the news networks or whatever. The people that you don't know their name, they're gonna go ahead and send the people that you do know their name a bag in the alleyway or something, and be like, "Hey, do this, say this, bro. You know, take
Okay,
the bag of
so
money."
so you
It's
you
bought out.
so you
Everything bought out.
so you agree with me about our current state of governance then, and what Trump is doing is bad because he's
Bro,
encouraging
the
everything you're
whole-
talking about.
The whole pot is bad. You gotta throw it out. Everything.
Right.
He's only gonna go
Right. So let's
far.
end capitalism. I agree with you. Let's end capitalism.
That's what I told you from the beginning. That's why I asked you about the Dems and the Republicans or whatever, because they're both not there for your own interest. Bro,
Yeah,
I've been around-
yeah, we understand that. I
Can
get
just
that.
say this?
Hmm.
I've been around rich people. They're not gonna just disagree with each other and beef with each other for the fuck of it, you know? They're gonna go ahead and find a common ground and get money together. They're not gonna beef with it. That's a poor man mindset.
All right.
Okay.
So what are we talking about then? Because like yeah, we agree. So what are we talking about?
Well, before when Reggie was still here, you know, he was Democrat and he was, you know, sending subliminal shots, and that great beautiful lady Chelsea wanted to go ahead and try to say, "Oh, I'm implying this" and all of that, and I could already tell where she was coming from. So, I mean, they kind of set the they kind of set things off. So I just wanted to go ahead, but other than that, I mean, you can go ahead and be like, "Oh, it's Democrats, oh, it's Republicans." They're gonna have you fighting each other all the way to the end, while they all go home with a bag of money and foundational wealth.
Yeah, we don't disagree there. So I shouldn't be a conservative.
Family wise, you should be a conservative,
What does that mean family wise?
because I mean, conservatives, to be honest, they show more of like the household with the mom and dad. Liberals, subliminal messages. Subliminal messages for me, Democrats and all that, they give like the single mother, the strong single mother, and the absent cowardly father who ran out after he got the chick pregnant. You
I
know,
mean,
it's,
does that happen or does that not happen? That happens, right?
it happens, but it shouldn't be the focus. Just like the fathers that do stay, that are not the focus.
But the
right?
thing is not the focus, nor is it promoted. People are just
you
saying
gonna
that Folks are just saying that this is something that happens, and we should support them, help them out when they need that help. How's that a problem?
Okay, so do you not think that society focuses on trashing the dad more and praising the mom?
No.
Oh, get out of here, bro. You're gonna tell me that The Simpsons and Family Guy, and all these other things, it's all about, oh, the mom is so smart and the dad is clumsy, he's dumb, he doesn't know leadership, he doesn't know how to lead a household, he's just a big fumbling foe.
The mother on Family Guy is one of the worst people alive. What are you talking about?
Is it not programming that she's like the leader?
No.
She's the one who keeps everything in order.
No.
Peter's the big kid who
No.
does everything. He
Yeah,
has no strength,
Peter.
no-
Peter. Yes, Peter is an idiot, and Lois is a horrible human being. How did you get that
Okay.
Lois is the leader from watching Family Guy? She's one of the
Because
worst moms
she
in
tells-
TV.
No, because she tells Peter what to do.
Yeah,
Tells
and she's
Peter what to do, and she keeps him in check. That's what it is.
she doesn't keep him in check. She doesn't work. She's a housewife.
Okay, and whenever Peter does something stupid or whatever, who's the one who corrects him? It's her.
Yeah, because she's
Bro.
smarter than him. Peter has always been an idiot in the shows, but Lois is a stupid. But Lois is a horrible woman.
Okay, we're not talking about character. We're talking about roles of the.
Roles don't matter, bro. Roles don't matter.
Okay, so with Homer,
Hold on, wait, hold on. You're using cartoons for your social analysis?
how many people are programmed to watching these cartoons for how many years? It matters.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It does. It's been programmed
It doesn't.
30 years.
If it's programmed, then how come both the women in both these shows are homemakers? How come more women aren't homemakers then?
What, bro? It's about talking over and being more dominant. That's what they're all about. which both of
Marge
them
is
are
not
wrong.
more dominant than Homer.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Who's running the household?
Homer.
He is not running the household.
Yeah,
He's a
he
big
is.
club. Who?
Yeah, he is.
What's the common
Homer
thing?
Homer for the I think the first 17 seasons of The Simpsons was 100% leader of the household, especially during the classic Simpsons years.
You're
Marge is
saying-
not the leader of that household, bro.
So what does Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin have in common?
They're oafs.
Okay.
And Peter is dumber than Homer.
And have you ever seen an oaf that ran a household?
Yeah, Homer.
You're
Bro.
insane. Come on.
Bro, this has been a TV
Keep it a
trope.
buck.
Hold on, listen. This has been a TV trope for years now, and it's not just cartoons either. Like this has been a TV trope for years now, where the dad is kind of oafy, and the mom is intelligent, but they work together. That's been a TV trope for years now. Why if women are if society is being programmed by Family Guy and The Simpsons, why aren't more women homemakers? Why aren't there more stay-at-home moms? This is stupid, bro. You're using cartoons you're using cartoons for your social analysis. This is stupid.
It's not. It's about what's being exposed to the public. That's all I'm using as an example. But let me go.
This is
ahead and-
entertainment, bro. No one's living their life off the Simpsons. You're insane.
You're right, because the marriage rates has not been looking good.
It's been declining for years
But the birth
because a
rate
lot of
has
these
been-
motherfuckers suck. A lot of these niggas is not good. Is not good guys, bro.
Who's picking them?
Huh?
Who's picking them?
What do you mean? Who's picking them? What are you talking about?
Man, bro, if you've been around enough chicks, I would tell you, they're picking them. They're picking them, and they know who they picking. They know what they want. They're not stupid. They're playing dumb when it gets too far. I've seen this time and time again. They
Okay,
like-
so
they-
the women are choosing terrible men. Yeah, a lot of women choose terrible men. Now what?
well, yeah. Okay. What do you mean now? What?
Yeah.
If
So
you
what?
don't check them, if you don't check them,
What do you
you
mean
would
check
never see
them?
change.
What do you mean check them? What does
Just
that
like
mean?
You want to check, just like people want to check these dudes, for being deadbeats or whatever. You got to check these females for picking deadbeats and making more deadbeats, because that's who's making them.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro.
How do you think this happens? What do you think? This has been happening since the 60s and 70s. They pick, bro. When you get to a point when what do they call Sierra's husband? Who's Sierra's husband?
Russell Wilson.
Okay, where in the world would you ever call somebody like that corny? Why would you ever call somebody like that corny? Because he handles everything.
You realize it was men calling him corny, right?
That's okay. And who those type of dudes? Who's getting them girls?
Like
Who-
I'm more.
okay.
I'll tell you what. I'll write this right now. I'm more of a Russell Wilson type than a Future type, and I've never had issues with women. Well, until my mid 20s.
It doesn't matter, bro. If you shoot your shot at 100 women, you're at least gonna get 10, bro.
Yeah.
It's odds.
Duh.
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying, bro. you
That goes
could
for
be a
everybody,
nerdy-
bro. That goes for everybody.
I know that. You could be a nerdy, corny dude, but I'm just saying, if it was you against a Future, you would lose.
Yeah. Well, like
Sure.
like what? Like
For sure.
like a tall dread-headed dude? Yeah, of course I'll lose because the tall dread-headed dudes are considered more attractive. So what?
Okay. And if that tall, dread-headed dude that she chose is not doing his part and just being himself, and he's creating all this, who do you blame?
Both of them.
Exactly. Okay, then. So if she already knew what he was about because he had 2 other baby mamas and she still went messing with him, who do you blame more? It's the chick because she already knew what she was getting into and she still went with it.
No, I would say that that she should have been way more strategic than messing with him. But he's the one that still left the household.
Strategic? What do you mean strategic?
What I mean strategic is that if you're going to be sleeping with this guy, don't be reckless with it. But I would blame him. I would blame him. I would blame him. I would blame him for leaving those families.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. Y'all play these games. What, bro?
Why shouldn't
you
I blame
already-
him for leaving those families?
Let me tell you something.
Why
If
shouldn't I blame
something
him for leaving those
don't-
families?
Let me say this.
No. Answer that question first. Why shouldn't I blame him for leaving those families? He didn't have to go ahead and busting those women without a condom.
I never said you shouldn't blame him.
All right, cool. So
I'm
it's his fault.
saying- no, it's more her fault.
No, it's his.
because no. Okay, let me get this out the way. If
Women
she
have to
thinking-
be more careful, but it's more his fault.
Okay, how old are you, bro? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm in my late 30s.
Okay, so are you guys? So throughout your years, this will let me know a lot. Do you think that a chick wants to mess with a dude who don't got no chicks, or do you think a chick will want to mess with a dude who got a lot of chicks? Who do you think she's gonna pick?
It depends.
Come on, bro.
Bro. I'm close to my 30s and I am married. It depends. I'm telling you that right now. It depends. Because I've been so am I. I've been around plenty. I've had plenty of girlfriends. I had plenty of sexual experience. My entire 20s was going around bopping on women. I was doing all that in my 20s, and I started settling down in my mid 30s. So I had plenty of experience with all that. I'm telling you right now. Your question is not black and white like that. It all depends because I've seen men who mess with one woman at a time and has DM is full, and I've seen men who have a whole bunch of chicks and women find him disgusting. I've seen both. All right, so it depends. When I say it depends, it depends. It depends on who he is.
Okay. And what year were you coming up on? Like when you were in
I
your
graduated
20s?
high school in 2005. I'm in like my late 30s. So that means that I've messed with women in my age group, millennials, and I messed with women in the other age group, Gen Z, women who are younger than me and women who are on my age group. I mess with both. So I know it depends. If you ain't that guy, if you ain't that nigga, it don't matter how much bitches you got, bro.
So what does that mean? If you ain't that nigga, what does that mean?
That means if you ain't up on game, if you
What does
actually
that
don't,
mean?
if you don't have Riz, you ain't getting no chicks. If you ain't got no Riz. That's what that means.
Bro,
If you don't have aura, if you don't have riz, or like how we used to say in the early 2000s, if you don't got swag, you ain't getting no women. That's just what it is. Because I've seen big fat dudes have a whole bunch of women after them. Why? Because they're hilarious. They're funny. And me, I'm short and I'm bald, but I can still get women. Why? Because I look good. I'm handsome and I smell good. And I know how to talk to women.
being funny doesn't mean nothing, bro. If you know about Biz Markie, he said, or maybe it was that other big guy from the early '90s or whatever, who was like, "Oh yeah, she always found me funny, but she always friend zoned me or whatever." I forgot his name.
Yeah, he ain't no riz, bro. Like, but I have a homie who's one of the most hilarious dudes you ever seen in your life, and he had way more chicks than I had, and he was fat.
These are specific contexts, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why your question was dumb, because I said it depends. It depends, bro. Women are not gonna get with you just because you have a whole bunch of women. It depends.
Yes, they will. All
right, bro.
How do these dudes
You really use Family Guy and Biz Markie as your social analysis, bro. This is crazy. You're using Family Guy and Biz Markie as your measurement of social analysis, bro. Are you 19? The fuck?
Okay, so when you said that whole thing about with the what was that? With the Southern the DEI, you're gonna make Republicans or whatever with the Southern Republicans and all that stuff earlier, right? Is that not a type of programming?
What, the Southern strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Southern strategy is basically it's basically a form of propaganda. Yeah, sure, you can say that.
Okay, so what would those things be?
Well, what be?
Family Guy and
They're entertainment. They're not propaganda. They're entertainment.
It can be more than one thing. You
Yeah,
can't just say,
entertainment can be propaganda. No, I agree with you. Entertainment can be propaganda, but Family Guy is
Okay.
not propaganda.
How do you determine that?
The way that you determine that is that you have to look at its you have to look at certain things
You
messaging. You have to look at the way that they message things.
And what do you think the message was?
There is no message in Family Guy.
Oh my God, bro! Why do you think they just did it just for the fun of it?
Yes. The Family Guy, the trope in Family Guy with the Ophi father and the homemaker mother who's a little smarter than him has been a trope for over 40 years. They did that in All in the Family. Back in the 80s, they did that in All in the Family.
And do you know that Homer Simpson, the dude worked in a nuclear power plant, so he has no choice but to be a smart guy. Like, you got to be smart to be on that property.
Yeah, and that's the entire joke.
They made him dumb.
That's the entire joke. That's the joke.
What's the joke?
The joke is that a nuclear physicist, he does nuclear physics for a guy who never even graduated high school. That's the whole joke.
He was. I don't.
The joke is the joke is the ridiculousness of the situation, where he can run a nuclear power plant but has no idea what he's doing. The joke is that this is how bureaucrats usually are. Bureaucrats be having no idea of what they're actually doing, but they have the job. That's the joke.
I think that's what you perceive, and I think everybody has a different perception.
All right, bro. We've been at this for over an hour, bro. Like this is getting crazy now. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is very matter of fact. You don't have to go to me. Go to Matt Groening, and he'll tell you that's the joke. The joke is that he's making fun. He's making fun of people in high positions who do not know what they're doing. That's the whole joke.
The thing is, I really wish you would be more open-minded to seeing things from a different point of view and not being so stuck on one way of life.
I'm not stuck on one way. You asked me, and I'm telling you.
About Simpsons. I'm not just talking about the Simpsons or the Family Guy. I just mean since I had this conversation with you. From way back then, like with the police and so many other things.
You realize that everything that I told you comes from research, right? I'm not just talking out my ass here. It comes from research.
As in,
this is
with the police?
Yeah, as in with the police, as in with discrimination in our society. This is all backed by research.
It's just you guys use this word reform, and it's like Bro, you guys are just throwing out terms. What do you mean reform? How are you gonna reform?
I
some
told
shit?
you about what I meant. I told you. You weren't listening.
The only way you can change the police force is if black people got applied in droves, just like how those white
Black
boys
people do apply and they don't get hired
How do you know that?
because it's studied.
It's studied. That's all you got to go off of. How many, bro? I'm from this environment. I've seen people get shut down and beat down verbally for even thinking slightly about being a cop.
Why do you think
You
that
better
is?
not
Why do you
even
think that
say it
is?
out loud.
Why do you think that is?
Because of the bad the bad
Bad
history.
reputation of the cops. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
do
that's
you
why.
think- you gotta change it from the inside out.
No, we've tried that already. There are plenty of people there are plenty of black people who
When?
become there are
No.
plenty of black people who become cops. You realize
you-
hold on, do you realize
you
realize hold on, listen. The Memphis and the Baltimore police are majority black. Do you know who has one of the worst issues of corruption? Memphis and Baltimore police. So it
Yeah,
didn't change
so
anything,
I-
did it?
I mean, bro, that's you gotta.
You have to
also-
change the culture
You have-
of policing in of
Bro,
itself, not just the
you have
racial
to-
dynamic.
You have to also consider, bro, like the lack of education. Just like in New Orleans, these people are knocking each other off. They have lack of education.
Yeah. So when you say that I'm talking about reform, and I told you one of the big reforms we need is education, especially in psychology and social justice, you said I'm just throwing out words.
Lack of
Which means
education is mental health.
which means you're just which means that you just have no idea what you're talking about, which means that you're not actually listening to anything that I said. You said lack of education, and I brought up an hour ago that our police need to be more educated in things like psychology, mental health, social justice, and you said I'm just throwing out words. So you're not listening to what I'm saying, are you? You're not listening. What's the point of all this? You're not listening to me.
I literally repeated everything you said.
Repeating what I said doesn't mean that you're actually listening.
If I repeated, that means I.
No, it's
realized what
not.
you said.
Repeating doesn't mean that you're listening to what I'm saying. Repeating means that you comprehend what I said. And clearly you didn't, because now you're bringing up, we have to change it from within instead of saying, oh, reform is just a word. You didn't listen to what I said.
You can't force people to get an education.
Yeah, we can. We can force it in the police force. They say in order to become police, you need to have a bachelor's in psychology. If you don't get it, you're fired. We could do that.
It's more than that. It's more than just the cops. It's the city. Because if the people
No
who
one
have,
doubts that, bro. But you asked about the cops.
Let me get this out. And before you try to say, oh, I'm using Bismarcky and Family Guy as an example, why you use the NWA as an example. But okay, we're gonna keep that moving. But we're also gonna say this: if the city as a whole, not even just the police, but the people who are in those, doesn't get educated, the city will not get lifted.
Yeah, that's
will
why
not.
I believe in universal education.
Dumb people do dumb things.
Okay, this is why I'm saying that you're not listening. I believe in universal education. Now what?
Yeah, but you can't force. It's just like you go take the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If people don't want to get an education, whenever these kids,
What I gotta do with what I said, bro? What I gotta do with what I said?
because they're gonna be, bro. They're led to a one-way road.
What are you
right?
talking about?
So-
What does that have to do with what I said?
If they're in Mississippi or Louisiana or something, right? In these backwood kind of states, right? And they didn't even finish middle school or whatever. Wherever they stop is their mindset. So they're gonna be doing dumb shit all the way to whatever age. So they
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
5
we
years
we
old
we
and
we
still
we, we,
doing
we know
dumb
that. We
stuff.
need to reform our education system. We all know that.
Okay, but that's a big thing. You just can't shake your head and be like, "Oh, we know that." Like it's not a big thing.
Yeah, this is part of what I believe. I believe in education and universal. I believe in universal education and educational reform. I believe in all
But it's
that.
just
So what are we
bigger
talking
than
about?
Cops. It's bigger than
We
cops.
know
It's
that, but
society.
the subject that you brought up was cops. You wasn't talking about education.
Yeah, but when you say, with how these cops are, it's like, okay, these cops, and the people that they're dealing with, they all come from the same thing. They all have the same foundation from Memphis, Alabama.
Yeah. So
where-
what's your point?
if you don't lift the state up, they're all gonna
Yeah, we know that. That's why I believe in universal education. Like what are we talking about? What's our point? What point are you trying to get at? What's the point?
And there's another thing: get more black cops. Just because you see goddamn NWA and all that, even though you repeated that line like that was supposed to make a good point, you gotta have more.
It elucidates my point. The reason it elucidates my
trying to
point,
give 'em a hard
it
time.
elucidates my
Stop giving 'em
point.
a
It
hard
elucidates my point. The reason it elucidates my point is because even when we have black cops, they still follow the same racist system. Even when we do have black cops, and this was shown not just in that song. This was shown in Memphis, and it was shown in Baltimore, where they still harass poor black people and their black cops. So having more black cops does not erase the racist system that policing is. That was my point.
How many states are there?
50.
50. How many did you just name?
I named two of the biggest police forces, Memphis and Baltimore.
In Baltimore.
Yeah, but
Doesn't
the
speak for
issue,
all.
of course, it doesn't speak for all. I didn't say it does. I didn't say it does.
Well, you're making a point like it does, and it doesn't.
I'm bringing up examples, dude. Do you know what
But
examples are?
It still shouldn't stop. It still shouldn't stop.
Dude, hold on, wait. Do you know what examples are?
Yes, but
Yeah,
it still
exactly.
shouldn't
So,
stop.
right, I know that, but you simply saying add more black cops. We know from modern day examples that doesn't solve the issue. I'm not just talking about Memphis and Baltimore. The only reason I brought up Memphis and Baltimore is because those police systems have a large amount of black cops, and it didn't save the issue. It didn't solve the issue. But if you look at the Minneapolis police, if you look at the Los Angeles police, the LAPD, if you look at the NYPD, you look at the Chicago PD. The Chicago PD is one of the most diverse police force out there. It has about a third of them are black cops. It did not solve the issue. I'm bringing up these examples to show you, saying that just add more black cops doesn't actually solve the issue, because even in cities where there are more black cops, we still have issue with police brutality, especially lethality against young black men and women. So adding more black cops did not solve the issue. There's another issue at play here. That's my
I got
point.
a question. Who do you think could get a black person more matter? Who do you think has those? Who knows how to push a black person's buttons more than another black person? It's only gonna be another black person. They know the right things to say to get another black person. And if you're a cop, they're gonna give you a hard time, bro. They got social media videos. Black people give other black.
All right, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you guys hanging with me through that torture. We're at 12K likes right now, y'all. Let's go ahead and keep liking the live and sharing. If anybody would like to come up, please come up. But I just couldn't do this anymore. I just couldn't. I couldn't do this anymore, y'all. I just couldn't. I really couldn't. Y'all go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing. I appreciate all the likes that I'm getting. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna get off in a few minutes. I'm gonna wait to see if we get anybody else. But yeah, fucking hour, bro. We're up here for at least an hour, bro. Like I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore. Shout out to everybody who's watching me over on Facebook, over on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. If you're watching me on either of those platforms, watching me on Twitch, I appreciate you there as well. If you would like to come up and have a discussion, have a debate, I'll appreciate that as well. Y'all go ahead and keep liking. And I do have a give goal. If anybody sees, I do have a give goal. I'm going to be here probably for the next about 20 to 30 minutes. If you would like to come up and have the discussion with me, I've already invited a few people who were in the comments saying that I should be a conservative, but they didn't come up. Let me go ahead and switch up this topic real quick. All right, so I'm going to switch up this topic real quick. This is my topic now. Let me know if y'all could see that. If you can't, then I can make it a little bit more clearer. Let me put this down a little bit. All right, I appreciate everybody who is. Yeah, I'm using my computer for this, Prophet. I'm using my computer. Let me know if y'all can see the topic on the board. All right, y'all. If you can see the topic on the board, go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing. We're gonna go ahead and keep the train moving. If you would like to come up and talk to me about it. All right, you can't see it fully. Let me see why that is. Give me a second. Disconnect it real quick. Okay, there we go. I see why you can't see it now. Cool. All right, how's that? You can see it now. You can see it. You can see that now. All right, that's perfect. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, y'all. Actually, do this. All right, that should be good. All right, great. Awesome. All right, guys, go ahead and keep liking the live and keep sharing. All right, Tony, go ahead and come on up and we could talk about that. Tony, why don't you just come on up and we could go ahead and discuss that if you like. Remember, y'all, I'm always going to just invite you up. I'm just gonna go ahead and always invite you up so for us to talk. Tony, you said that it devalues. Let me read what you said again. Hey, I appreciate that to hear. Thank you so much. There we go. Tony says it devalues individual. Stokes tribalism creates poverty for all, but mostly for minorities. I do not agree. You can go ahead and let me know why, because I think it actually increases individual value. I'm not sure how it creates poverty, because we're talking about, leftist policies also talk about, living wage. So you have to explain how that would create poverty. Michael, what do you mean by enunciate? Do you mean elaborate? You can come on up as well, Michael, if you would like. Is Tony still in the chat? Tony is not here anymore. He left. Tony is not here anymore. He left. Michael, I know the meaning. I just don't know why you told me enunciate. I'm not sure what you meant. Enunciate what? All right, so yeah, I invited Tony up, but he left. And Michael, if you disagree with what I have on the board, you can come on up as well. I'll go ahead and send you an invite. I'm going to go ahead and invite up Michael. And Michael declines it. All right. We can just go ahead and mute this account for the entire live. You don't come in, you don't get to come in and insult me and then think you just go ahead and stay here. Usman. Now I don't know who Usman is. Is that the basketball player? I forgot who Usman is. Major. What I mean is exactly what I said. Oh, the UFC fighter. I was, I know I knew the name Usman from somewhere. Yeah, the UFC fighter. No, I'm not related to him. All right, how's it going? Major, how's it going?
It's going good. You?
I'm all right. All right. So you asked me, what did I mean
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
by leftist policies are better for society?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, what I meant.
I thought I read that differently, but yeah.
Yeah. So leftist policies, I think, are better for society. Do you disagree?
Absolutely.
Not you, Michael. I'll get to you in a second.
Wait, but you just squashed me because I didn't agree with you. You're like, I'm gonna just block him because he doesn't agree with me.
No, I didn't
But
say
you
that.
weren't enunciating.
I didn't say that. I
You
said
weren't-
I said
you
that.
weren't
I said
being
that.
articulate.
I said
Tanya
that.
did.
I said that. I
Anybody
said. I
against you,
said.
you're gonna
I
squash.
said you don't get to come here and insult me and think you're just gonna stay. But since you want to come back, that's fine. I'll talk to you. All right. So Major, I'll talk to you first, and then I'll get to Michael. So Major, do you disagree that leftist policies are good for society?
I'm gonna have to look into that before I put my opinion. Because I can't say yes or no really.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about what leftist policies actually are. What do you think they are?
I know I'm gonna be wrong, but all I've been like left policies, like what maybe like the Democrats' policies, whatever.
I don't consider Democrats to be leftists.
Okay, then then yeah, I know I'm wrong. Then sorry.
All right, not a problem. Go ahead and say what those are.
I don't know what type of policies you're looking for. Like what?
Okay, sure. I can. Yeah, that's fair.
If you
That's
can
fair.
explain,
No, no, no.
so
That,
that I could-
yeah, you're right. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So, leftist policies, at least in America, they're considered leftist. Everywhere else, everywhere else these are considered normal. But universal health care, guaranteed housing, universal education, living wage tied to inflation rate, and of course tied to your area that you are, paternal leave, things like that.
Oh yeah. Definitely then I could agree to that for sure.
Oh, okay, cool. Based. So all these are are good for society. Hey, I appreciate that. All right, so we
Because
get.
I do believe like for depending on what state or we all live in, it's like the minimum wage should go up because nothing is cheap anymore like it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. Might give me a second. Hey, my poor man or whatever your name is, go ahead and come on up and do not spam my chat. I don't like for people to spam the chat with just contrary and insulting things. Just come up and talk to me. If you don't want to talk, then I'm just gonna go ahead and mute you. All right. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Major. Yeah. I agree. Like things are getting more expensive, and I think that we should definitely be spending more time with our families. So things like parental leave, where where mothers and fathers can spend at least 90 days with their children. My wife actually thinks that it should be up to a year for women and 6 months for men to spend with their children. I'm not sure if we can do that, but I would say at least 90 days for mothers and fathers to spend with their children at home. That would be great.
Is she talking about like even if you, let's say like a husband and wife like went their separate ways? Is that what she means by that?
No, no, we're talking about like they get married, they have a child, and when the baby is born, each of them can stay home for at least 90 days. Matter of fact, I would even extend it. 90 days is like how much? 3 months. I'll probably extend it to like 4 months, so like 140 days, 120 days, 120 days. Yeah, 120 days. I would say 120 days for for the mother and the father to spend time with their children, and they can do it at any time. Like let's say the mother wants to be first, and then the father takes the next 120 days. That's what I think they should do, or they can take it at the same time. Both of them spend 120 days with their children, with their child, and help raise them, bond with them, etc. I think that would be better. Not only that, if we had universal health care, we'll have a lot more people who go to therapy for their mental health. A lot more people going to a dietitian. A lot more people getting screenings and stuff like that for like cancers and any illness that they have. So society will become a lot healthier. If we had universal education, that means like universal means from pre-K all the way up to probably the second year of college. And if we had free pre-K, you know what I mean, that'll cause less stress and less financial hardship for families to not be able to take care to afford pre-K for their kids and stuff like that. So that'll be great. You know, living wage to tied to your area and definitely tied to inflation, because I live down here in Florida. Like a living wage down here is about $25-$30 an hour, but a living wage over in somewhere like Nebraska could be like 19. You know what I mean? So we have different standards. Not everybody needs 25. Some areas are more. You can survive with less around those areas. So it should be tied to that and tied to inflation. You see what I mean? That'll give more people money. I believe in walkable cities, better infrastructure. You know what I mean? Like if I don't like driving all the time. If I were able to take the bus to my job, I would take the bus all the time. It just doesn't exist for what I work. You know what I mean? So things like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's a question for like the opinion that your wife is putting, like about the spend time with the kids.
Mhm.
Should the father still be paying for the kid 100% no matter what, or should it be like, let's say the wife is doing these 3 months, whatever, she's responsible for 100% for that money, and say like the next month, the father is responsible 100% for the 3 months he is with his kid.
Oh, okay. Now, it's all paid. Like it's like his PTO, so it'll be paid.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that.
Okay, sure. Hey, I appreciate you being up here, Major.
Yeah. You have a good one. I'll be here watching.
You as well. You have a good one. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all and anybody who would like to come up. Harvey, I've invited you up already. I don't know if you have guest access or not, but I've tried to invite you up and it just won't invite you for some reason. So if you would like to come up, excuse me, I'm sorry about that, y'all. If you would like to come up and speak, we can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get out of here probably in the next 15 minutes. Because you said that leftists are for higher crime rates. I'm not sure how that is, because we believe in alleviation of poverty, and poverty and proximity are the main drivers of crime. So if that's the case, if we want to alleviate poverty, then we wouldn't be for higher crime rates, would we? I mean, one thing that alleviate poverty is better education, better finances, better mental health, bigger communities, because suburbs actually destroy communities. You know what I mean? So if we have better communities, then if we had bigger communities, more connected communities, then we would have less crime. Yeah, and wars aren't ending either. There's still a war in Congo. There's still a war in Sudan. There's a war in Haiti. And Israel broke the peace treaty. Pakistan and Afghanistan might be going to war as well. So wars aren't ending. Not sure what you're talking about there, buddy. Okay, that sucks. Harvey doesn't have guest access, so I can't invite him up because he doesn't have guest access. But you can go ahead and try to you can go ahead and request up if you want, Harvey. If you don't have guest access, then that means that I guess you can't. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here in a few minutes. I'm just gonna go ahead and wait until probably about 10 o'clock. Then I'll get out of here. Finish up some homework and get to bed probably. Shout out to Tahir, y'all. W Tahir. And shout out to everyone who's watching me over on YouTube. You guys are amazing. Shout out to Secular Smoke. Shout out to Michelle. If you're watching me on Facebook as well, shout out to you. All right, Flex Luthor, why don't you come on up? Go ahead and come on up, Luther. Because right now I'm talking about leftist policies being better for society, and no one has been able to tell me why not yet. You see, this is the cowardly shit that I don't get. Y'all come to these lives, y'all talk shit in the comments, and can't defend your position. Yeah, milk dud. I am a chocolatey milk dud. That's why the women like me more than you. What's funny to hear is that he's jealous of my chocolatey goodness. That's what's funny. He has to laugh to hide from the pain that he can never look as handsome as this. Yeah, we all agree that all politicians are snakes. We all agree with that, Flex. So I'm not sure what your point is here. Yes, all politicians are snakes. Like, that's not the topic of discussion though. So not sure what you're here for. If you're here to see my chocolatey goodness, I appreciate it, but I'm already married, bro. I might get out of here in a few more minutes. Uses it as why that's why I'm here. Oh man. All right, y'all. How many likes we're at? All right, y'all. We're at 16K likes. Let's go ahead and run them up. Let's try to get to 20 before the top of the hour. And maybe we can go. Maybe I could go ahead and get another guest. If I do get another guest, I'll go ahead and talk to one last person, and then I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah, I disagree with you. Leftist policies aren't better for society. Matter of fact, Chicago is a perfect example, and Portland, Oregon, a perfect example of lefty policies in act.
Okay.
You see,
what's
drugs,
what's
you see
the
people killing
what's
each other,
the what's
robbing.
the what's the why
There's a
is
perfect
why is
example
hold
right there,
on,
partner.
be quiet. When it
Whoa,
comes to
whoa, whoa,
Chicago,
what's on
when it
the
comes to
sir?
Chicago, when it comes to Chicago, when it comes to Chicago, what caused those
Sir.
issues? What caused the crime? Those issues? What caused the trouble?
Lefties, sir.
All right, no.
Catch and release.
The
Catch and
issue.
release.
No, it wasn't catch and release. And I'm not gonna fight for the live. I'm not gonna fight for the mic in my own live.
You're
If we're gonna
being
have a
ignorant.
discussion, it's gonna be a back and forth. You're not gonna go ahead and just talk over me. You understand?
Well, sir, I'm not trying to talk over you.
All
sir,
right.
but
So
you
so
being
be quiet for a second while I'm actually answering your question.
not being so
What
disrespectful,
caused the issues in Chicago is poverty. Catch and release didn't cause those issues. Catch and release has nothing to do with Chicago.
So you're saying a Democrat?
Catch and release has nothing to do with Chicago. Catch and release was a catch and
100%
release.
does.
Catch and release was an issue that was done in the border, and it wasn't even just catching them and then releasing them out into the public. They actually gave them actual court dates for them to show up to, which they did. The issues in
And what happened
Chicago,
if they didn't show up?
the issues
They
in
still let 'em
Chicago, the issues in Chicago are all about poverty.
Poverty. See,
Yes.
that's a perfect example of why the lefty policies are going. What happens when you start giving, and not? What happens?
Who said anything about giving? I said the
It's
issue is.
always about
I
giving.
said the issue is poverty. You can alleviate poverty without
Sir, are you an
giving.
American?
What
Were you
happened?
born in America? Are you from America?
No, I'm not from
You're not
America.
from America,
I'm not
huh?
from. I'm not.
So
I'm
why
not.
are
No,
you
I'm
talking- why are
I'm
you
not. I'm not from.
discussing
I'm not from America. I'm from fucking Mars.
What-
I clearly have an
Fucking
American
Mark.
accent. I could have an American accent. So
You can imagine. Are you from the UK, sir? Or your country's overran by illegal immigrants? Are you from the UK?
I have an American accent, and you're asking me if I'm from the UK.
Hmm?
I
can
have
be
an
from the
American accent, and you're asking me if I'm from the UK.
You don't have an American accent. What is an American accent?
An American accent is what you and I have.
Not really. It's
Yes,
English.
really.
So you're saying English is an American accent?
English is not an American accent. They have a completely different accent from us. But if you must know, and your background is very loud,
I will
and your
must know.
background is very loud, by the way. If you must know, I was born in Florida,
Okay.
so I am from America.
Okay.
Why are you
thank
asking me if I'm American for? What's the point of that?
Well, sir, I just see your profile picture and see a little flag next to it.
Yeah, because that's my heritage background. You have a problem with my heritage background?
Maybe I do.
Why do you have a
Maybe I
problem? Why?
Huh?
Why? You jealous?
Maybe I just said maybe I do.
Yeah. Why? You
Yeah.
jealous? Because our food is better?
I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
Jealous?
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. You are. Yeah. You have a problem. You have a problem with it because our food is better.
Sir, let's get back on topic. Let's not get emotional, all right?
No, you don't want to get emotional. You don't want to ask me where I'm
look
from.
look how angry you're getting, sir.
You don't want to
I
ask
can
me where
see
I'm
the
from.
vein on your head.
No,
Sir,
you can't.
Calm down.
No, you can't.
I can.
Hey, listen. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna actually have a discussion, and you're not gonna troll me on my live, okay?
Yeah.
We're going
yeah,
to have an actual discussion. Don't get off mute again. We're gonna actually have a discussion. All right. So leftist policies didn't cause the poverty issues in Chicago. What caused the poverty issues in Chicago are things like redlining.
redlining. That's not real, buddy.
Yes, it is.
Why? No, it's not.
You
Why is
want me
it?
to show you it's real?
Show me right now.
All right, sure.
Show me right now, sir. Meanwhile, we're searching this. Redlining. Is redlining real in Portland, Oregon?
What does that say right there?
That's an AI overview.
Yeah, what does it say?
Read it to me, bitch.
Okay. All right, guys. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate y'all being here. We got about 4 minutes until it ends. Y'all go ahead and keep liking the live. Let's go ahead and try to get to 20K. Before I get out of here, I think I'll give it a few more minutes, get one more person up, and then we can go ahead and end the live. We could probably go ahead and end the live there. Oh boy, what a waste of time. Why do y'all just come up here and just waste people's time? I'm not sure why y'all just come up here to waste people's time. Oh man. I already blocked him. I already blocked him, sir. I already blocked him. Because clearly he's just a troll that goes around trying to, rile people up and get people upset. Yeah, he clearly just one of those guys that goes around to get people upset. Hey Gideon, how's it going? Yeah, I appreciate that, Gideon. Gidvion. Sorry about that. Gidvion. All right, y'all. So think I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here soon. I think I'm gonna get out of here soon. I appreciate you, Tahir. Tahir is always here. Tahir is based. All right. I think I got one last one. You came in. Aaron Wright came when I was just about to get out of here, but I could go ahead and put 15 more minutes on the clock. Aaron, how's it going? Are you 18 and over? And do you think Can you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes, I am 18 or older. I disagree with what you have on the board in regards to leftist policies.
Cool.
Yes,
I'll
I would
go
say I
ahead.
disagree.
Okay, cool.
ahead.
I'll put 15 minutes on the clock. To make some clarifications, what do you think leftist policies are?
That's actually what I was going to ask you. I'm actually curious on what your definition of a leftist policies is.
Leftist policies are things that will increase human well-being and cause more social cohesion. I think those things would be things like universal health care, universal education, guaranteed housing, extended parental leave, the access for reproductive rights for women, etc. Those things like that. Oh, a living wage tied to inflation and your area, more workplace democracy, and I would even say ranked choice voting.
What is ranked choice voting?
Ranked choice voting is basically a voting system where you rank the choices by first, second, and third place for those you prefer. Right now, we have two main parties, right? And ranked choice voting, those wouldn't be the only parties. You'll have Party A, Party B, Party C, and whoever is your preferred candidate, no matter what party they are, you will put a 1 next to them. Whoever is your secondary choice, you put a 2, and whoever is your third choice, you put a 3. That way, people are more, the parties or your representatives are a lot more representative of what you would like. So if there's like the Democratic Socialists of America or the Libertarian Party, those parties will have a lot more chances to get into Congress and even win higher office if we have ranked choice.
Okay. So I guess going from a moral standpoint, I think that there's a difference between. Hold on a second.
All right, y'all. Appreciate that us hitting that goal of 20K likes. Y'all amazing. Right now, we're just waiting for Aaron to come on back. Matter of fact, let me pause the clock. Let me pause the clock and wait till he gets back.
Sorry about that. My wife walked in the office.
No, not a problem.
Yep. So, from a moral perspective, I think that I would say in regards to the housing, the healthcare, universal thing, I think there's a difference between having good intentions and being able to have good outcomes. So, for example, there's a difference between being compassionate and being competent. So, like generally, leftist policies are very compassionate, but they typically destroy the conditions that make compassion even possible. So, like productivity, accountability, and personal responsibility. So, like for an example, if you were to make housing and healthcare universal, do you think that that is removing personal incentive to and essentially turning citizens into like the dependents of the state?
No.
Okay, so do you not see the argument that that is a potential?
No. Because it
Okay.
happens nowhere else. What would happen here?
I mean, so you think that if we're just using the guise of compassion, right? And let's take universal health care in the UK for an example, right? Is it working properly in the UK because they have universal health care, right?
Sort of. They mostly have universal health care, but a lot of it has been privatized. So a lot of the criticisms that we see in the NHS is actually because a lot of it was privatized. It actually messed it up when they started to privatize the system and take it off the universal system. That happens actually all the time. When We have whenever there's a universal system and they start to privatize parts of it, that's what causes the problems. Same thing happened in Canada.
So you're saying that it's privatization that's causing that to happen, right?
The privatization is causing it to happen. Exactly, because these private companies are about profit and competition, when their single player system was more about just them billing the government for their services, and they were getting the funds from one national fund. That's what basically universal healthcare was. I mean, not universal. What single payer is. There's just one payer, which is the U.S. government. We all pay our premiums through our taxation or through some sort of premium that they would take out of our, basically a tax like our paycheck, and all medical bills are paid out of that pool. So basically, this is how all healthcare works. The only difference is that we're making the government the payer instead of these private companies that are trying to make profit, and therefore they're going to deny certain claims.
Okay. So essentially, your argument is that socialism works until it starts acting like capitalism, right?
Yep.
Okay. But it only starts acting like capitalism because socialism stopped working. So why would it? Let me ask you a question. If in fact it was working, why would it begin to behave like capitalism?
Because of politics. That happens all the time.
Can you explain how that happened? And you specifically, your statement was that it happened in the UK and in Canada, and you're saying it's politics. Can you show me how that happened?
Yeah, basically, you know how political pendulums swing. Their parliament became more conservative, and the conservatives started saying that we can do better, we can do better with this system, with these universal systems, by privatizing some parts of it. And that's exactly what they did.
Can you give an example, like a leader or someone that actually did that?
I think it was for the UK. It was Margaret Thatcher. She did that to the railroad system and the NHS. And after she got voted out because it was a vote of no confidence for her, it wasn't Boris Johnson. It was another Tory before him. But basically, over the years, the Tories over there started basically privatizing some of the NHS, and that's why we see a lot of the issues that we see today. Anytime they get in, they privatize some of the public systems.
Okay, so let me see if I can walk through some of your facts for a second. So, you're saying the only reason universal healthcare fails because basically conservatives come into power, and they say that they can do better by privatizing, and then that ruins the system. Correct?
Yeah, basically, because other countries that haven't privatized some of their system, they don't have the issues with the NHS.
Okay, so I think if you're not still maintaining the conservative position correctly now, because you're saying that they're privatizing out of some sort of ideology, and that's just not true. Especially if we're taking the NHS for example, between 1997 and 2010, the NHS had basically tripled in their spending, and it was causing wait times to increase, and people were literally dying waiting on basic procedures. Similarly, in Canada, there was a healthcare backlog that grew even from conservatives, even when liberals were in power. There was a healthcare backlog. You can actually Google it. So privatization wasn't some sort of sabotage. It was just it didn't break the system. It was basically the system was already crying out for help. So my point would be, if your system basically collapses every time a conservative wins an election, then it's never sustainable system to begin with. It's basically what you're saying is that it's the trope of, well, it's politics. When if in fact people are healthy, they're strong, the system is working, voters are going to be happy. But we know objectively that's not true.
Wait, you saying that when if let me try to understand what you mean. Um, if people are healthy and happy, they wouldn't vote for another system.
Um, if the system, what I'm saying is that if the system is running the way that you say it was, everything was going fine, and then conservatives come in and then they just sabotage it, right? We wouldn't have these other variables like the ones I just mentioned. So when I talked about the labor government tripling in what they were spending, and there being increasing wait times and people dying from basic procedures, when you're talking about Canadians having a healthcare backlog, even when you had different liberals in power. So again, what I'm saying is that you're saying it's politics, but I'm pointing to other things that are not just political. Like, there was all types of, the NHS had all different types of um, um, debt that was way before any sort of privatization reforms that happened. They were drowning in debt. So why would you point to and say, well, everything was flourishing fine if the country was having other issues that was causing it to have healthcare backlogs and their spending beginning to triple? Why would you point directly to the sabotage or politics?
I mean, you just said it. The country already had other issues which is causing the backlog. Like, for example, the last backlog that Canada had was due to COVID. So they were already having issues, and we had that same issue here in America too. And we don't have a public system.
Yeah, but the one I just mentioned didn't have anything to do with that. Like, so are you not hearing what I'm saying? From
I'm hearing.
1997
Okay,
to
so
2010, 1997 to 2010, there's no COVID. Okay, the labor government in NHS, their spending tripled, right? Which caused wait times to increase significantly. So if you're saying, I'm just trying to understand your argument. If you're saying that it was because the conservatives came in power, right? How I would need you to prove that out, because from 1997 to 2010 is not just conservatives in power.
Right. So from what I'm seeing, from 1997 to 2010, the wait time was due to a lot to spending cuts and economic downturns. Is that what happened? Especially like the recession. Is that what happened?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Spending cuts, austerity measures are a conservative measure. Are they not?
Wait, I'm confused on what you're asking.
Spending spending cuts, basically austerity. Those are not conservative measures.
What do you mean by conservative measures?
The conservative measures meaning that, like, whenever you cut government spending, that's usually what conservatives promote. It's not only them that do it, but it's typically a conservative policy to do so. Anybody can do it, but that's typically a conservative policy. Government cuts to government spending.
So are you saying that the spending cuts are from conservative policies, which inevitably caused long wait times and healthcare strain?
Yeah, when you told me to look it up, that's literally what I found. Spending cuts and economic downturn.
No, that's not how, no. That's wrong.
You're saying no, but you told me to look it up. That's what I found.
Oh, I'm about to explain it to you. What you're describing happens. Okay, so what did you look up? Tell me what you looked up.
1997 to 2010 Canada healthcare backlog. From the period of 1997 to 2010 in Canada was marked by an increase in wait times for healthcare due to a combination of factors, including earlier spending cuts and economic slowdowns, particularly the recession of 2009.
No, I'm talking about the UK when I was referring to that, not the Canada. So from 1997 to 2010, I was referring to the UK.
Okay. The period from 1997 to 2010 saw significant reductions in UK healthcare backlogs and waiting lists, driven by increased investment. So in 1997 2010, they saw a reduction of backlogs, not an increase.
No, that's not. You're not hearing my point. In Canada, you had backlogs. In the UK, you had overspending. So they were overspending, which were causing longer wait times. You can just Google it. I mean, you can just
Yeah,
Google it.
I
You have it
am,
right in front of you.
and both of them said the opposite of what you said.
Okay.
In 1997, 2010 saw a significant reduction in UK healthcare backlogs and waiting lists, driven by increased investment and focus on meeting wait time targets.
Okay. So how's that disagreeing with me?
Because you said that they had wait times, and the UK had a reduction of wait times because they invested more. Canada had a huge wait times because they invested less. So the UK increased their government spending, Canada decreased their government spending, and they had also opposite outcomes.
Okay. So in what was the wait times during that time? Was it from like 7.4 to 7.7 million? Like, what's the list that it says there?
I don't think it says it. Let me see. Like, when you say 7 million, do you mean like how many people were waiting, or what do you mean?
So that's I'm talking about as of today, right?
Mhm.
As of today in the UK, it's around 7.7 million, right? That's on the list. That's how many people are on the waiting list.
Oh, I'm not sure.
You
Because,
can look
I
it
don't
up.
live
You have it
there.
right in front of you.
Okay. UK waiting list. Yeah, 7.4 million.
Okay, 7.4 million.
Mhm.
Okay, why is it 7.4 million compared to what you were correct, right?
Mhm.
And from they did have shorter waiting lists. Why did it balloon up? Why is it ballooned?
Weeks. It says fluctuatingly higher pre-pandemic levels. Sometimes I'm not being. Let's see. Why? Okay. Increased demand, workforce shortages, and a backlog of appointments. Let's see. Factors contributing to this: growing population, industrial action, underfunding, poor patient flow with hospital operating at over 90% bed capacity. So basically, increased demand, and more people are leaving the healthcare workforce, and essentially underfunding. They're underfunded. And that's
Okay,
why.
so where in there does it say anything about conservatives or politics? Which was your original point?
No, you're correct. It doesn't say anything about that. Yeah. So yeah, no. When I looked it up, like why are there waiting lists? It doesn't say that. Sure.
Because it's saying
But
that it's
underfunding.
it's underfunding,
Mhm.
underfunding, staff shortages, and a higher demand. So
Yeah. So why is it underfunded?
well, a system can't stay funded because so if there's a higher demand, right? So a universal system can't stay funded because demand always grows faster than taxpayer pockets. Like that's economics. So the NHS, so basically the NHS spending is at 11.3 of the UK's GDP, right?
Mhm.
It's the highest that it's ever been in history.
Mhm.
That's not because of that's because they're spending more money than they're bringing in.
Right.
Canada spends more per person. Canada spends more per person than most nations. Yet their median wait time is 27 weeks. So you're waiting 27 weeks.
We spend more than Canada, and our wait time is about the same.
Okay. Our wait time for what? What are you talking about?
You said that their average wait time is 27 weeks, and they spend more than other countries. We spend more than Canada, and our wait time is around the same.
What does that have to do with my point?
Wait, can you guys?
We're talking about you. We're talking about we're talking about the United States. We're talking
Right.
about the countries that are running under the model that you're supposing. So going
Right.
back to my point,
Okay.
the UK has an enormous NHS spending. It's 11.3. That's 11. It's 11.3 of their GDP. That's the highest that it's ever been in history, and yet their waiting list is they have 7.4 million people on their waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
So hospitals, that's basically, hospitals run in the UK at 90% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And this is them spending the most money they've ever spent in their history, and
Yeah.
it's not working. So I'm asking you, if you're saying that it works, I'm asking why isn't it working there? Because you said it's working. So why isn't it working there
There are
according to these numbers?
right there. The reason why working there is because of several reasons: aging population, underfunding. Matter of fact, every time I look this up, what's going on? Why is the NHS system like this? It always brings up the same cases: aging population, underfunding. That's one of their most points. And when I look up when it was underfunded, it was during the recession, the 2008 recession, when more conservatives were in power. As a matter of fact, we don't just have to use the UK. We can use other systems. That the UK and Canada are not the only ones who have universal healthcare systems. There's also Taiwan. Japan
Yeah,
has
but they're
one.
the biggest. Yeah. But I would say that like they're the best case study, especially because one of your points you just
Hold on, wait.
mentioned, you
Actually,
brought up
wait. Hold on. Let me ask this question: why are Canada and the UK the best case studies, and not France, Germany, or Taiwan?
Well, because we're taking a look at how it can go wrong, right?
So
Those are the
why would we
examples
look
that I
at why
brought
we
up to examine.
why would we look at why would go wrong and not what would go right, and then copy what would go right?
Well, because your points that you were making of examples of it going wrong was that it's because of politics, right? That was your point.
Yeah, austerity
So
is one of the main reasons these things get underfunded.
I know, but you're saying austerity, but they're spending more money than they've ever spent in history. So
Yeah,
like,
and it's
do you
still
want them to spend-
underfunded. That's what I'm saying. It's still underfunded.
I know that, but the reason it's underfunded is because they don't have any more money.
No, the reason it's underfunded is because they cut the funding.
Okay,
They
who cut the
undercut it,
funding?
huh?
Okay, who?
The,
Okay,
the people in power undercut the funding. Here's the thing. You when you bring up that your first point was that these universal systems will take away, I think you said, like, personal responsibility and make people wards of the state, but that doesn't happen anywhere. So why would it happen here?
okay. That's fine. We don't have to get into that. I'm still trying to understand your point about it being underfunded. That's been the case. If that's your point, that's been the case for the last 50 years. It's been underfunded for the last 50 years.
No, it's only been underfunded
When-
since 2008. That's when it
No,
started
that's
getting
wrong.
underfunded.
No, that's not true. That's
Okay,
not
I
true.
can look it up. I can look up how long has the NHS been
Yeah.
underfunded.
The system has always been underfunded. It's always like it hasn't never worked at the efficiency that they promised it would work at.
The NHS has faced underfunding since at least 2010.
Okay. So what did you just Google?
How long has the NHS been underfunded?
Okay. Now I think a better question to ask Google instead of that is the NHS underfunded? That's the first question you should ask it.
Well,
And then see
yeah,
what it
because
says.
it's been underfunded since 2010.
I understand that, but
Right. So I asked,
okay.
how long has the NHS been underfunded? And it's been underfunded since 2010. You want me to ask, is the NHS underfunded? It's going to say, yeah, since 2010.
Okay. So in 2010, how much were they spending? 120 billion, right?
Well, yeah, 120 billion American money, 116
Okay.
billion pounds. Yeah, so that's 120 million dollars.
Now in 2024, they've increased their spending by 50%. Correct? Now they're somewhere around 180 billion now, right?
Yeah, they're around 180 billion pounds. Correct.
Okay. So they're spending more money. They're always so you're saying that they've always been increasing the amount of money they're spending,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So okay, so the problem isn't money. The problem is number one, management. That's one of the big problems. Another problem is inefficiency, right? Which is going to cause more eating of the budget. So it's basically the analogy is if you keep pouring water into a leaking bucket, you don't have a funding problem. You have a design problem.
Yeah, and when I look up why is it inefficient, you know what they said? Underfunding.
Okay, let's hear it.
Underfunding, understaffing, and a lack of modernization. So yeah, if you
Okay.
underfund something and you don't modernize and you don't increase your staff, yeah, it's gonna be a problem. But that doesn't necessarily have to happen here, does it? If we have a system that is properly funded, is modernized, keeps up with the technology, and we keep up staff levels by having
Can you name
better
one of those systems? We can move on from this one. Can you name one of those systems?
that is working
Yeah,
correctly.
It has all the things you just described. Can you
Yeah,
name
sure.
one?
Taiwan, France. Well, maybe not France right now because of what's going on, but like Switzerland, countries like
Okay,
that.
so you want to take. Okay, so are you saying Taiwan and we're not going to use France, but Taiwan and Switzerland, right?
Yeah, Taiwan, Switzerland, probably Germany too.
Okay. So let's take a look at France. How much can you just Google this real quick? How much debt does France have in terms of hospital debt?
Hospital? Well, none.
Yeah, hospital
because like they don't. We're the only country that has hospital debt. Like
No,
other
that's
countries.
not true.
Wait, how would other countries have hospital debt if the government's paying for it?
I'm asking if you can just Google it. It's a quick Google search if you don't believe me. You have it.
You
in
should
front
go
of you.
back to your point earlier. I think that bucket example you gave was actually very nice because I think it very articulately like visualizes the problem. See, these countries that you brought up, like Taiwan, Switzerland, of examples of utilizing free healthcare, right? They're like small like faucets like pouring into a bucket with like little leaks that are just minimal waste and inefficiencies just like leaking out of the side. But when you think of the US, this massive example of like one of the biggest healthcare systems in the world, when that bucket's getting gushed in by like rivers of water, dude, the efficiencies are much larger and much more apparent in a system.
Here, let
like
me just
the US.
Google it. I can
No,
Google
I've
it.
already Googled this. It says France hospital debt is not a single easy to quantify figure as it changes and involves different components. As of 2023, the public hospital debt was reported as approximately 0.1 billion, which is about maybe what not 100 million, but close to like 900 million. Like 0.1 billion euros is like what 900 million euros probably. I'm not sure. But to Sam's point, I do agree that there are inefficiencies in some of these systems, right? But those inefficiencies, like I said, are played with our lack of modernization, understaffing, and underfunding. So you have to go ahead and fix those things. You have to fund them properly. You have to make sure that you keep up with technology. You have to keep your staffing up. You have to make sure you have competent staff. No one is denying any of this stuff, right? But like what I'm trying to say is that if we have a single payer system in America, essentially, if you're going to say that we're going to have all these problems, that means that our healthcare system in America is already inefficient. So we should go ahead and fix those inefficiencies, right?
Sure, yeah, that's
Okay,
fair
real
to
quick,
say,
real-
but I think it's like oh, sorry. You wanna?
Can I just respond to the point? Because
Yeah,
it's just not.
you can go, sorry.
So again, this is just a quick Google search, right? In 2019, the government of France pledged debt relief, a 10-year plan, for that would wipe out $10 billion of hospital debt.
Mm-hmm.
In 2023, they proposed a new $3 billion rescue fund to keep services running.
Mm-hmm.
So these are bailouts. So the government is constantly having to bail out and spend billions of dollars to bail out hospitals. And if in fact the system was working, why would they keep having to throw cash at it? So for an example, let's just say that France is running correctly, right? Like socialism is doing what it's supposed to do. Everyone has universal health care. There's no wait times, but it's causing a strain on society to the point to where it's going to continue to throw society into debt. Continue to spend, keep going in debt. Can you explain to me why that is a wise decision? If the country doesn't have the money to keep spending money the country doesn't have, because they obviously don't have it, because they have to spend $10 billion to bail out hospitals.
Yeah, because it's underfunded.
Okay, so now you're not making sense now. So you're saying that they have, so they're throwing money at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying it's underfunded.
Yeah, they have to throw the money at it. If they funded it properly, they won't have to keep throwing money at it.
But no, that's not how it works. Do you know how universal healthcare works? Can you explain how does universal healthcare work? Because you're saying that they.
Yeah,
I don't-
we
I don't-
yeah, we said in the beginning the our basically our taxes pay for it. We get taxed out, and it goes into a pool of premiums, and the claims get paid out of that.
Okay.
It's a single payer.
So who's paying those premiums?
We are.
The citizens, right? Through taxpayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's underfunded, are you saying it's underfunded because they're just not wanting to give the money there?
Right. They're cutting the spending towards those expenditures.
Who's cutting the spending? This is what I asked you
The
earlier.
government.
The government cutting the spending. So would that be liberals as well as conservatives?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. So why would they cut expenses? If the system is working fine, why would they need to cut expenses?
Usually a lot of these things are due to like ideology.
Okay, so that goes back to my original point. Why would it be an ideological thing? That doesn't. So it's going back to what I said earlier. If the solution to every government failure is spend more, then you've created an infinite money problem.
That's not what I said though.
Governments- I know that, but that's essentially what you're saying, because you're saying they're underfunded. They're always going to be underfunded because we know they're not bringing in enough tax dollars, so they're going to keep going into debt. It's just math. If you want to buy something but you don't have enough money, you have to go take a loan, right? And then if you have to pay back that loan, and the loan increases to amount to where the money you're bringing in is not enough to pay that, then you're going to go more into debt. And that's what's happening because
Right. If you spend more than
healthcare is such an unpredictable thing, right? When you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about no one could have predicted COVID.
right, and
And
like
COVID almost
so, I agree with you that if you spend more than what you take in, then yeah, you're gonna go into debt. I 100% agree with that. The issue is like with a lot of these countries, especially in the West, they spend a lot on like for example, France and America, for example, spend a lot on military expeditions that we don't need to spend on, and they cut taxes for their 1%, and there's a revenue shortfall because of that. That happens all the time, which is why we end up spending more than what we take in. For example, Trump's big beautiful bill with cutting the taxes, there's going to be a revenue shortfall because of the taxes that he cut, but spending basically remained over the amount that he cut. So yeah, he cut spending, but then he cut revenues even more. So yeah, you're going to have a revenue shortfall. That's always going to happen. Same thing happens in France when there's a revenue shortfall, either through their tax cuts or because of their spending on everything else, like military things, like how we do in America. It's always going to be a shortfall. So if we spend less on those type of things and actually tax like the way that would increase our revenues, we won't have these issues.
So real quick, just to respond to that, because that's like a typical sort of breakdown. But let's stay hypothetically. If we were to tax every billionaire at 100% tomorrow, and we were to shut down the military, right? You couldn't fund universal everything for that long. For an example, if we take the entire U.S. billionaire class, it's around $5 trillion, right? So $5 trillion for billionaires. The federal government spends $6 to $7 trillion per year. That's how much the government spends. You could seize every dollar they own, and you could only fund the system for 1 year.
Yeah, but
if you seize every dollar, and then for example, the military spending is 13% of the U.S. budget. It's 13%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare is nearly 50%. It's 50%. So let's just say, even if we were to take the 13% of the military budget, take all the money from the billionaires, we only have enough to fund for 1 year. We have a spending problem. It's not a problem of, I just don't understand how can we say that we can have you, like, I'm trying to see how can that math, based on those numbers I just presented you, can you explain to me how that would math? If we spend $6 to $7 trillion a year, you say spend more money, it's an underfunding problem, right? And even though 50% of our entire U.S. budget covers Medicaid, Social Security, and Medicare, explain to me how increasing that number for 13 extra percent is going to solve the problem.
I also want to add the military budget isn't even a lot of people talk about this. You always hear, oh, let's stop sending money to the military. Like, what is the military doing? It's just useless. We're not going to war. But I think it's like really like it's not very smart to say that, because like people take for granted like us being the top one military power in the world as of current, and the sort of respect and pressure that provides us internationally. Like there's a reason that other countries like China, Russia, and their like geopolitical strength comes from them spending on their military. There's a strength and there's pressure that comes with that, and that's very important, and people like tend to neglect that for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think it's very important though.
Yeah, it's not important. We're protected by two oceans. No one's gonna get over here. That's the first thing. But the second thing, hold on. I'm gonna finish. The second thing that I was gonna say is that when it comes to what you're saying, right? These things are called like allocation, right? Like when if you take if you reallocate some of those funds, and no one is saying take every single dime from the billionaires. I'm not sure that's even possible. But what we're saying is that if we actually have a budget and allocate funds into areas where they're supposed to go, then things will get not only better funded, but you'll reach better outcomes if you do so. Why would we not? Defense spending is literally 50% of the discretionary spending that we have in this country. We can decrease that down to maybe 10%, still have one of the largest militaries in the world, still have a very capable fighting force, and allocate that money to other areas of our country.
Yeah,
Why not?
First of all, the VA in defense combined is $1.2 trillion. So when you're talking about
the VA is not even universal, bro.
What do you mean the VA is not? I understand it's not universal, but you have disabled veterans, you have VA benefits, you have subsidies for disabled veterans, and all of those things. So
when I look up why the VA has problems, guess what I'm gonna find?
I don't really care. That's not the point. There's nothing to do with the point. The point I'm making is that let's just say if we were to scale this out, right? How much would universal healthcare cost in the United States, according to CBO or CBO?
Last I checked, what was it? I think 10 trillion over 10 years.
It will cost about $3 to $4 trillion annually. Right?
Let's see, yeah.
Okay, so if we were to cut let's just say hypothetically we cut the military all the way. We cut VA and defense combined. That's $1.2 trillion, right? I'm trying to reallocate. I'm trying to scale your reallocation.
Right, but you know you're missing one thing, right? It says that the same study that you're talking about, it said that that we will actually save $1 trillion every year over that same time. So you would spend $3 trillion, but you'll also save $1 trillion each year, compared to our current system.
How would we save $1 trillion?
I don't know. We have to go ahead and read the study, but like the same like stat that you're pulling that from, that same study that you'll save 1.1 trillion a year. I just looked it up to make sure, because I know what I kind of knew what you were talking about, but I looked it up to make sure, and yeah, the study found that if we were moved to such a system, we would save $1 trillion. We'll spend $3 trillion a year, but we'll also save $1 trillion a year.
Okay.
Because we cut out a lot of the middlemen.
Okay, so you're saying that even if costs increased costs went up to $3 to $4 trillion per year, you're saying that the studies are showing that we'd save $1 trillion annually, so that would eliminate the waste, right?
Eliminate the waste, yeah.
Okay, so the $1 trillion, is that real or is that a projection?
It's the same thing with the it's a projection. Like They're spending the trillion dollars, spending the 3 to 4 trillion a year. It's the same thing. It's a projecting. I mean, we don't have it. We don't have universal health care, so these are all projections.
Okay. So what I referenced was the CBO. So when the Congressional Budget Office ran the numbers, right, ran the models, they do see a downward shift. But do you know why they see a downward shift?
No.
Because they're projecting that based on perfect efficiency, zero fraud, and that means zero fraud, doctors accepting lower pay, all of those things. So those savings depend on basically paying hospitals and doctors 40% less than what they're getting paid now. So I mean, all of the doctors and that work in hospitals would get paid. This is according to the Congressional Budget Office. They would get paid 40% less than they're already getting paid now. So you think doctors
Give me a
that work
second.
90 hours? Okay.
All right, I just looked it up, and it says that no credible finding found what you said.
No credible crown found. Can you repeat back what I said first? Or like, let me know.
Does the CBO project that universal health care would decrease the pay of doctors by 40%? No, there is no credible finding from the Congressional Budget Office that universal health care or any single payer system would reduce doctors' pay by 40%.
Okay. Ask it under that model would doctors pay decrease? Because apparently you think that doctors are going to get paid more.
Under which model? Universal health care?
Take any model you want to look at.
It depends. It highly depends. In the CBO projection?
No. I'm saying that it said, if in fact we're using our current Medicare level reimbursement rates, let's just use that for a second. So our current Medicare reimbursement rates is 40% less than what they get paid now, correct? From private insurance. Just look
think
it up.
so.
Just Google it. You got it in front of you. So okay. So if we shift to a universal model, do you think that they would pay doctors what they're getting from private companies, or would they continue on the same redistribution model that they currently operate under, that Medicare operates under?
No, because it would. So you're saying if we were to go to a universal system, would they reimburse doctors under the Medicare model or under what we have right now?
Would they reimburse doctors?
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm bringing this up to you is because remember when Bernie Sanders proposed his bill, which was like healthcare for all. He proposed a bill and they ran the numbers on his bill. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking about 40%, that's based on what he was putting forward, and that was paying.
You said the CBO.
I know I was wrong on that. So it was the number is correct though. So the figure 40%, it comes from when they model Bernie Sanders stuff, and that's under the current Medicare rates. So if I'm using that scenario, right? If I'm using under that scenario, you would have a drop about 2 trillion over 10 years. So it would be a drop. I agree with that. But do you understand why there would be a drop? It's not because so if we're taking that means doctors are getting paid less. They're not getting paid what they're currently getting paid under private insurance rates.
I mean, it seems like what you're citing is a libertarian study, but it's not. It doesn't come straight from the bill. It comes straight from like a libertarian study, and it's under certain assumptions. So, are we sure that's what exactly is going to happen? Because what if there are other studies that say that figure isn't accurate? Who else has done the models on this?
That what figure is inaccurate?
The 40% figure that you just mentioned, because the bill doesn't say it. It's just that
Even if it's
that
not 40%, it's they're gonna get paid less. Do you think they're gonna get paid the same? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
You don't
Because
okay, so,
it would cut out a lot of the middlemen, a lot of wasteful spending that happens between the doctors performing the services, sending the bill, and getting their money back. It cuts a lot of that out. So why wouldn't they get paid the same?
okay. So the nonpartisan study that was done by the CBO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their core finding was that if costs fall, if the provider payments drop to Medicare rates, correct? Cost is going to fall if provider payments drop to Medicare rates. Is that not what it said?
Hold on. Can you ask what you said again?
Costs fall if provider payments drop to Medicare rates. That's what it, because when you the one that mentioned that costs would drop. So I'm responding to that point. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying under that model that is correct. But that's if payments are dropped to Medicare rates. That's the model they ran it under. Somebody said that that's not correct. That's definitely correct. There's no study that exists out there that says otherwise. If you find me a study that says otherwise, because all the studies I've ever looked at on this, the institutional studies from the CBO, the Urban Institute, they all say that. Like, no one says.
Yeah, it says like
said,
total national expenditures would fall if the provider payments rates were set close to the current Medicare rates.
Exactly. So that was my only point. The Medicare rates are 40% low private insurance. So I'm saying that if we go by that, that means that doctors are getting paid 40% lower than they're already getting paid. Why the hell would I be a doctor?
You don't want to help people?
Doctors, okay, sure, I want to help people, but do you think that you're going to be incentivized, especially when we have an epidemic in our country of health issues? We're not a very healthy country by any stretch of the imagination. We're very unhealthy. It's a very stressful job. Doctors are ranked amongst one of the most stressful jobs. So you're talking about cutting pay for doctors across the board by 40% to save money. So we're going to the people that actually take care of the people, we're going to cut their pay, and we think everything's going to be fine.
You
It doesn't
realize
say doctors make less. I understand it doesn't say doctors make 40% less, but it's just simple math. If the study says,
but Aaron,
okay, go ahead.
You realize that this is just an assumption in one of the models. They're not saying
No,
that you
this
have
is
to
all the
follow.
models say this.
No. What I'm saying is that in the CBO study, the expenditures will fall if doctors go like accept the Medicare payment. That's correct, but that's just one of the models in the study. They're not
Correct.
saying that this is the thing that's going to happen.
I know that. That's what I was responding to you, because you remember the point you made was that.
Right, but your point
we
is
would
that
save a
this
lot
is
of money.
right. But your
We
point is
wouldn't
that
save any mo-
right. But your point is that this is what would happen. But the CBO study is not saying this is what has to happen for us to do single payer.
No, I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm responding to your claim. You made a claim that we would save a lot of money because of the waste. And I'm just responding to that and saying that's correct. But in order for us to save that money, we're talking about a 40% reduction in what doctors are getting paid if we're going to save that amount of money that you talked about, because that's what all the studies say. We would save money if we switched over to universal health care, and we are paying doctors 40% less than what they're getting paid now. We would 100% save money.
So
I agree with you, but that means that we're paying doctors less. You can't avoid that.
So
Somebody's going to get paid less.
So there's no study that says that we can keep the payments of the doctors the same and switch to universal health care.
And save money? No.
None.
and save money? Can you find me one that says that? Can you find me a study that says that we can do that and save billions or trillions of dollars? That'd be interesting. I'd be for that. If that was the case, I would concede the debate, and I would be like, well, now obviously I would need more studies, but if there's studies out there that say that, then I'm all for it. But most of the institutional studies that I've heard of, they say they all agree with it. Even the far left ones say that. Like the one I mentioned, the Urban Institute in 2019, they actually said that federal costs, national spending would be down if they cut reimbursements 40% below what the current private market is. They said if we cut it, then it would, we would save like a lot of money. So
okay, so this is what I searched. Is there
Okay.
research that shows that we can keep doctor pay the same, switch to universal health care, and still save? Yes, there is research indicating that is possible. Yeah, so
Okay,
there is research indicating that.
What's the research?
All right, the study single payer healthcare financial implication for a physician. That's by, let me click this link. It's in PubMed. It's in PubMed. This was done recently, as a matter of fact, in 2022. And it's by Daniel C. Bryant.
Okay, is that an institution?
Let me see.
Was that an institutional study, or was that what was that?
Let's see. Daniel C. Bryant is the writer, and he printed it on PubMed. And this might have been from a university. Usually, when it's a writer, they do it from a university. Let me check the whole paper. Let me see where it's from. Well, this was printed in Sage Journals. Ah, crap, paywall. Damn it! Why is there always a paywall? But I don't know what institution he's associated with, but if it's in PubMed, it's definitely peer reviewed if it's in PubMed, and it was printed in Sage Journals as well. And let's see, review. There's another one, paper of Vermont. Let me see, and this was a Harvard study, as a matter of fact. Yeah, single payer healthcare, a solution for United States. And this was done by William C. Sau, PhD. This is a Harvard paper. Well, a Harvard article. I'm not sure if it's peer reviewed, but it's a Harvard article. So there is research out there. I'm not sure if it's if you want like big institutions like the Institute of MIT or some shit like that. I'm not sure if you want that. But there is some that shows we can actually do it. We can see if they're peer reviewed, but I don't think we'll probably not CBO, but there is some research out there that says we can do it. In principle, yes.
Under our current model.
What do you mean under our current model is a private system, so.
No, I mean under Medicare is what I'm saying. Would it be under Medicare or would it be based on primary?
It'll likely just be another single payer system. I don't think it'll be under Medicare.
And have you looked at that study, or was that like a quick Google search?
It was just a quick search. So I said, okay, let's see if one actually exists, and I could read through it. I mean, there are some caveats. There's some important things. There's some caveats as well. But the point is, like, there are some research out there that said that it can happen. But when it comes to the concern about cutting doctor pay by 40%, yeah, I get that concern, right? My only thing with that is that, are we more worried about their stock portfolio or helping people? Like, which one are we worried about more?
Yeah. But I'm more of a, like, I think we need to be realists. So like you can't expect to cut doctors' pays 40% and then expect for everything to be okay. Like, you wouldn't even want, like, if you walked into your office and they were like, hey, we're going to cut 40% of your pay and give it to the poor. It's like, well, how am I going to survive? Like, I have house, I have kids, I got kids. It's like, healthcare costs go down, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the average American wants to have, they would rather, especially doctors, the doctors are the individuals that like they're a big part of the healthcare sector. Wouldn't you want their pay to stay the same? If you want people to be, especially when you have a problem of health in this, like America is already a very unhealthy country.
Yeah, I want doctors to get paid well and to be able to live, right? But it's not cutting their pay to give to poor people. If that were to even happen, you know, the pay is gonna get cut. Everyone's gonna be able to access the system, including that doctor. Yeah, I mean, so it's not we're just giving this to poor people. No, everyone has access to the system, including them, including Jeff Bezos. All of them will have access to it. So it's not just we're giving this to poor people. Nah, it's everybody is getting this. It's like basically saying, you know, this is basically like using the street basically, or using a public school. Like your taxes come out to pay for the street, but we're not saying that Washington taxes come out to go pay for poor people's street. You're going to use the street yourself. You know, so it's for everybody. It's not just for poor people.
Mm-hmm. By the way, so when I'm looking at just Google searching this study, it actually was a micro simulation. It wasn't like the ones that we were talking about earlier, like the one that the Urban Institute did, or the RAND or the CBO. This was it wasn't a Medicare for all, so it was modeled on
single payer.
One primary care doctor in in 5 state level plans. It wasn't modeled for the entire country, so it's not healthcare for all. It's just one doctor that they modeled it off of, just one. Whereas the other reports, like the Medicare basically pays 78% on the private insurance dollar.
Which one are we talking about?
Which part?
The one you said where it's based off one doctor.
That's the one by Daniel Bryant.
Okay.
And it's a hypothetical primary care doctor. It's not even a real doctor. It's modeled off one hypothetical primary care doctor in a 5 state level plan. So it's basically the equivalent of like looking at the profits of one restaurant, and then basically pretending like it is going to tell you what talk about the whole economy.
Yeah,
like
I can see issues with that. Yeah, I understand that.
So I'm not saying the model is bad, because I don't know, I can't look at it, but it's not the same thing as we're talking about Medicare for everyone. So the current models, and there are plenty of models, like there are models that are done by leftists. We don't have to. It's not like the Urban Institute is at minimum center left. You know, the CBO, which is nonpartisan, that's not right or left. And these are major models.
Yeah,
major
and
ones.
yeah, I agree with you, but these a lot of these major models do show that we can still save. Yeah, I mean, like so the concern is basically, your concern is basically like paying them less, right? Like the doctors getting paid less. But one thing I would say is that in all these models, they say that we don't necessarily have to do that. But like even if we did have to do that, right? Will the doctors still be compensated, you know, competently, like for them to still live their lives and everybody still have health care? Like it seems like we're more worried about, you know, money than people.
Yeah, no, because even so remember when we were talking earlier about under the other models, one of the problems is staff shortages. Wasn't that one of the problems?
Staff shortages, yeah. That's one of the issues.
Right. So so if staff shortages are a problem, do we have a staff shortage in America?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So if we're talking about cutting pay, do you not think that leads to a greater staff shortage?
No, it would. Of course it would, but a lot of the issues with our staffing is basically the work environment. You know what I mean? Like not just the long hours, but basically abuse from the administration and even the patients. You see what I'm saying? So it's like these are a lot of the issues that cause people to leave the workforce, not just the pay, because nurses
Yeah.
are still getting paid very well. The reason that they leave is because of the stress.
Yeah, and I understand that. And my point is, like, I'm not saying doctors should like get rich and people should suffer. That's not what I'm positing. I'm saying that economically, when you devalue skilled labor, you lose skilled labor, and then everyone suffers. So that's just how that works. It's like if you start devaluing skilled labor, then you're going to start losing that skilled labor. So, like for an example, in the UK, 1 in 10 hospitals, 1 in 10 hospital posts are unfilled. And so you have thousands of doctors who are literally strike. Like in the UK, you have thousands of doctors who are on strike right now. Like they're striking for more money. And in Canada, they have I think it's like over 5 million people who don't even have a family doctor because there's a doctor shortage. Why would we? I don't want that problem here. I don't want to where like it's that bad, and then it's that bad, and then doctors are getting paid less. Like that's not a good idea. I think that the fact that America already has a health problem, like our health in the United States is so bad, and then we're talking about letting it take a bigger hit by having, in some cases, less competent individuals because these skilled people are going to leave. They're not going to take the pay cut. They're going to leave and they're going to do something else. That's just what the research shows. So it's more about sustainability. It's not about like greed. It's just more like, hey, it's not really a sustainable model. Now, if we can come up with something else, I think that's fine. But under that model, it just won't work. And even if we're cutting other things, like we cut and we take what the military is spending, we're still not going to have enough money because we would be spending $4 to $7 trillion a year on healthcare, and we would be nowhere near like we would be now. We would save money if we cut the 40%, but then that leads to other problems. So it's like,
Well, if we were to have a single payer system, we won't need to do that. It will just be the government as the payer, and we're all paying the premium, just like how we do with our regular healthcare right now. We just wouldn't have the middleman of the private healthcare system.
I know, but where would that money come from, though?
It will come from
that's
us.
the problem.
Like the thing is, we already pay premiums, right? And the thing is, we can do the same thing with the with the single payer system. We'll just all be paying a premium, and that premium will go to the risk pool. And because the government is not ran for profit, we won't need to that cuts out a lot of the middlemen and a lot of the waste, right? So we could possibly keep the payments the same if we had single payer.
Yeah, but private insurance overhead is like 12 to 13%. So it's about 12-13% that's total healthcare spending. So even if you wipe out every insurer tomorrow, you would save $400 billion a year. So that might sound big until you realize that there's literally a new demand from a free point of service where you have you're going to have an additional 1.5 to $2 trillion in new costs every single year because you're going to have. So it's like, yeah, you're right. You kill the middleman, but then you can't kill the math because the demand is going to outrun the savings. Like that's inevitable. When people know they have free healthcare and it's going to create more care. And then where are we going to get that money? Because it's only 12 to 13%, which is like $400 billion. That's not enough.
So when it comes to when it comes to the math, right? There are about 170 million people in the workforce in America, right?
Okay.
All right. So if there's about 170 million people in the workforce, how much would that be? Like, for example, let's say the premium, if we have single player, and we have 170 million people working, 170,000,000, and let's say the premium on the low end is, let's say, $75 a person, how much would that be?
I mean, if we assume that's like $153 billion a year.
About 150. You said $153 billion a year.
Correct. Yes, $153 billion a year. So that would cover about 3% of what we already spend today. So we spend $4.5 trillion per year. That's how much we literally spend $4.5 trillion per year today on healthcare expenditure.
That seems. You said 150. How would it be $150 billion when? Okay, so if we have
So
100,
you have 75 times 12, right? And then quick math, 75 times 12 equals $900, right? So you multiply that by the amount of workers. So you would say 170 million times 900, which gives you $153 billion a year.
No, that'll be wrong, because remember that this is taking out every single paycheck. So you would actually have to double, maybe even triple this, and then time that times 12.
I'm confused.
Okay.
So you're saying
So
people
if we're paying our,
pay $75 a paycheck?
like, let's say yeah, exactly, that'll be the premium, right? Let's say it's $75 a paycheck, and that's the premium. That's $12.7 billion.
Yeah. So how many paychecks are we? 2 paychecks a month, right? Are we assuming for 200 paychecks a month?
We're assuming 2 paychecks a month.
Okay, so for 2 paychecks a month, that takes it to 950. So that takes it to 950, that's $306 billion. So that means that would cover 7% of what we pay now. So $306 billion, that covers 7% of what we cover. Is 7%? Yeah, 7%. Because that's $4.5 trillion what we spend a year, and then that amount of money, the 75, we would have to charge people way like a whole lot more than $75 every. Like, that's not enough.
Yeah, I
It
got
doesn't
you.
even get us close.
Yeah, I got you.
We would have to tax, like, you would be paying a lot more money. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I pay a lot of money in insurance. So if someone told me I could pay 75, I paid almost $1,200 a month in insurance, and like it's like killing me. So I could imagine if someone was like, hey, $75 every pay, like, I would take that any day, right?
Yeah, I pay about $35. I don't know where you work at.
I have to have private insurance because I have a business, so I have to have private insurance. I don't have an employer that I can, so I have to pay private insurance for me and my wife and my kid and stuff. But I'm not complaining about that because, I get to go to any doctor I want to go to. There's no wait times. My wife's about to have a baby. She walks into that, like, she goes into appointments every single week. They check and make sure the baby's good. I go into appointments every single week. I've never had to wait for an appointment. I love my insurance.
Yeah, same.
That would immediately change if we were to shift to an insurance for everyone. I would have the same insurance that everyone else has, and that's just problematic because we have a freaking health epidemic in this country.
You can still be able to go to any doctor you want if we had single payer, bro. Like, no one is stopping you from going to any doctor you want under single payer.
How we have a shortage right now, do we not? We have a shortage in doctors.
Right, but you're able to go to any doctor that you want now. So why would you not be able to go to any doctor you want under single payer? No one's gonna stop that.
It was not. I wouldn't have access. I wouldn't have the same access, would I?
Yeah, you would. Why would you not? Single payer just means that single payer just means that the government is the payer instead of your health insurance company. Why would you not have the same access?
Okay, so this goes back to the sustainability issue. So I understand it would be single payer, but do you understand that we don't have the infrastructure for that?
All right, so let's build one.
I agree. We need to. That's what I was telling my wife the other day. Like, we need to rebuild the entire infrastructure. Like the fact that she goes to the hospital and is like, I look at the bill, even though I'm not paying all of it, and the bill is like, oh, they gave her a shot, $3,000. I'm like, what the hell? Just put a needle in her. Why are we paying $3,000 for a needle? So it's just our infrastructure is really really bad.
Well, that's
It's
because
really
of
bad.
that's because of the insurance companies.
It was not.
Okay.
Prove it. How's it because of the insurance companies?
Because the insurance companies want to make a profit,
Okay.
right? So they basically can dictate what certain things that you use. So, for example, when you go to a doctor, right, and they dictate what treatments that you can or cannot get. Maybe not your specific insurance, but just talk about in general, right? And so, because insurance companies are the middleman, they require essentially the medical field to upcharge so they can then charge higher premiums for those expenses. Like it doesn't like when you, for example, you could get that same treatment without insurance and it would not, that bill would not say $3,000.
Right. So basically,
So your point is so let me see if I got this right. So you're claiming that basically healthcare is expensive because the insurance companies are greedy middlemen and they're driving up prices so they can make a profit, right? That's your argument.
Right.
Okay. So I would agree that insurance companies are companies and they care about profit and they've always they're going to add some type of red tape, right? However, if we eliminated it tomorrow, so that means that if we eliminate every private insurer tomorrow, the core cost drivers would still be there. So you have hospitals, they mark up, right? Can you change how much hospitals charge?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, how? I'm actually curious now.
price control.
Yeah.
No, I'm about hospitals. I'm talking about hospitals.
Yeah.
Hospital.
Yeah, price control.
Hospitals are private.
Yeah, price control.
Yeah, you
So
don't think
how would that work? Okay,
You
so
don't think
let's go. We have hospitals, we have drug monopolies, we have malpractice costs, and we also have to include government mandates in there. So
Yeah,
let's just
so
start with
in
hospital markups. How will we affect that?
in a non-profit system, there will be no reason for them to mark up anything, because everyone's trying to make a profit on their markups, but there is no profit to be made. So why would they mark up?
You're saying hospitals don't have a profit to make?
Right, there wouldn't be a profit to be made. So because the entire system is non-profit, so there would be no reason to mark up.
It would be at cost. It would be at cost, whatever the actual cost to do the work, and whatever the materials are being used and machinery that's being used, et cetera, et cetera. It would be at cost for whatever you're getting done.
Okay. So help me understand if you're saying that if it's nonprofit, then the single payer system, there's not going to be no reason for markups, so no one's going to be chasing any profits, right?
Well, not no one, because the idea behind single payer, you could still have, like, the idea of having single payer doesn't mean you can't have also private healthcare as well, right? Like, you could still pay, like, there would probably still be insurance. Like, if we move to a single payer, there'd probably still be insurance companies that
I know, but
you could.
the largest hospitals in America are already nonprofit, and they charge the same inflated rates as like
Yeah,
the
because
for-profits.
how are they getting paid? Who's actually paying them? Whenever you, not specifically, but whenever someone goes to one of those hospitals and they get a bill for $15,000 for whatever they just went to, is that $15,000 coming out of their pocket?
No, but that's not the point I'm making though. You guys are saying.
Maybe I
You guys are
misunderstood your
saying.
question. What are you saying?
Yeah. So you guys are saying that in a nonprofit single payer system, there's no reason for hospitals to mark up, correct? Because no one's chasing profit, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying one, nonprofit number one doesn't mean no money. It just means that the money is being spent differently. So it's like it's being spent on administrators, expansion, and overhead. You know, um, so like some of the largest hospitals, um, they still charge the same inflated rates. These nonprofit ones, because the nonprofits still have incentive to expand. They want to make sure that they want to pad their payrolls. They want to build some sort of prestige projects and all of those things. So they're just hiding under, you know, bureaucracy. Removing a profit doesn't remove greed. It just changes who gets paid. The money's still going somewhere, and we have hospitals now that are nonprofit and like they still are very ambitious. And
Yeah, but I wasn't making the argument that hospitals are the major reason for why the cost of medical care is so high.
no, that's I'm saying every universal. This is what I'm saying. Every universal system caps profits. Will we agree to that? So all the universal systems that exist, they all cap profits, right?
Okay.
Okay. Prices still continue to rise. So this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
There's no universal system that doesn't cap the profits.
Okay.
But even with the profits capped, prices still rise up even in those places.
Yeah, but no,
That's
I don't
why-
think anyone. We're not arguing that the prices won't go up. We're arguing that they'll be lower than they are now. I don't think you're understanding how drastic the fact that we have to have a insurance company in the middle that it causes medical care to go up because one because it's a bill because here's the thing, there's no regulation in the sense, right? And so if you need some medicine, if I'm a pharmaceutical company, I can charge you whatever I want because I know if the insurance company approves this medicine, they're going to pay it. So
Okay.
instead of me charging you $20, what it actually costs for me to with a little bit of profit, to make this medicine, I could charge you $500 because you're going to pay it because your insurance company's going to pay it.
Okay, so you're saying that we're going to save money from that end, right? So big pharma can charge these outrageous prices because they know that the insurance prices are going to pay it. If we remove the insurers, then costs are going to drop.
They will have to because
Okay,
they'll be regulated.
So, okay, but that's not because of private insurance. It's because the system is blocking competition and negotiation. So, for example,
yeah, well, yeah,
the U.S. patent system grants 20 years of exclusivity on most drugs, right? Which,
yeah, that's true. But most of the
which
medicines
prevents
now,
cheaper that prevents cheaper generics from entering the market, right?
yes and no. You can still cheaper. Yes, I can say
Cheaper. I'm talking about cheaper. So
well,
not
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Wait, what?
Not necessarily. For example, if I come out with a patent for a medicine right now and I charge $100 for it, and then another company uses my patent, now they'll have to pay me to use my patent, right? To make their own, to make to make the same medicine or a similar medicine or whatever, right? They could still charge. They could still charge less. They can have a lower profit margin than I do.
Yeah, they can have
Like
a lower profit margin, but
because there's no competition, I can charge whatever I want. But as soon as competition is involved, then I have to adjust according to the market.
okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Insurance companies create that market because insurance companies dictate what will not be approved under whatever care you're getting, whatever medicine. Like if they don't have a deal with the medicine that you need, or I'm sorry, if they have a deal with the company that's making the medicine you need, and that's the only medicine that falls under that, whatever, they have a certain amount that they select, that it's limiting competition. It's the same, like it's almost the same issue with like with why universities are like are becoming more expensive, because there is when there is no limit to what people can pay for, you can charge whatever you want, right? Like,
Okay. Okay. So under the Affordable Care Act, right? State insurance code dictate minimum coverage standards, right?
yeah,
So, which means that insurers can't legally sell bare bones, low cost plans. They
I
can't
think
do
it
that.
depends.
So no,
What if
it
if
doesn't depend. It doesn't depend. The
well,
Affordable
I
Care
mean,
Act
I'm confused of what this has to do
dictate.
with
Yeah.
single payer though, because the Affordable Care
So
Act is not related to that.
it is. So what I'm saying is, first of all, I agree with you that insurers restrict what they cover, but I'm saying that's not free market behavior. That's
Oh, I agree.
That's regulated market reaction to the thousands of government mandates and the prefix rules. So, like for an example, each state bans cross competition. So you can't shop for cheaper insurance from another state. That's stupid. So, for example, the FDA and CMS, um, they decide which drugs can be sold or reimbursed in the first place. So insurance aren't the source of the restriction. They're just complying with the restrictions. So insurance companies didn't kill the competition. The regulation is what has it in the cage to begin with. So you're saying that
but you understand why they would regulate stuff like that, right?
King, but that's not what I'm responding. I'm responding to what he just said.
Okay.
So when we're talking about market behavior, which he's discussing, a lot of what influences market behavior is the regulated market that exists. So like obviously that's contributing to how insurers are behaving. The fact that I can't go and get insurance in the Carolinas because I'm in Georgia is stupid. It's so
Yeah, but
dumb.
that would all be gone without that would cease to exist
With under
if we
single
got if
payer.
we-
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we had a single payer, none of that would be a problem.
I understand. Okay, so if you think private insurers are limit, hold on for a second. In Canada, right? Patents that needed out of province for experimental drugs had to apply for federal exemptions, right? Do you know how long on average it took?
No clue.
Okay, it took months. In the UK, right, which is another one we were speaking about earlier. The government cost effectiveness board routinely denied new cancer treatments because they said it's not cost effective.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm saying that you don't need to nationalize healthcare. You just need to open up and let insurers compete across the states.
But that's not the only problem, though. That's not the only. So that's not the
Of course,
only
it's not the only
issue.
problem, but that's just for me rebuttaling to what you just said.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll answer this problem then. Are you aware that hospitals charge people with insurance more money to cover the cost of people that don't have insurance who can't pay?
Can you give an example?
Just like explain it differently. What do you mean by that?
I'm
Or
asking.
do you want me to actually like find a source? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like a source, like that's
I mean,
your claim you're making.
this is sort of common knowledge, but okay, hold on.
I mean, you can just allude to something. I'm just asking for like I want to.
Okay, what I'm saying is that, okay, okay, I'll put it like this. This is how insurance works, though, right? Like, if you you're a car insurance, right? If you've never been into an accident, the money you're paying in insurance is going for the people that have been in accidents, right? Like every month you pay, you're not paying for yourself. You're paying for other people.
Yeah, basically.
So are you?
And so
saying
that same thing is happening in
Are you saying
medical
that
insurance.
hospitals? Are you saying that hospitals charge people with insurance more to cover the cost of people without insurance.
Yeah, that's how they
And that's
cover their
why
losses.
prices.
Yeah, that's how they cover their losses.
So that's called cost shifting. Number one, and
Yeah, it is.
when right, okay, I don't disagree with that, but that's something that we've documented since the 1980s. So, for example, let's scale that out. So, if we were to scale what you're saying out, right? Cost shifting only explains about 10 to 15% at most.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the biggest. Yeah, I mean, right. Okay. What are you saying? Yes, I agree.
So okay, so what's the point of mentioning that? I'm saying we've already, but we're not.
I'm saying the
arguing-
multiple
we're not
things I'm
arguing
bringing
that
up
are
that's
yeah, but we're
involved
not
with
arguing-
insurance companies, right?
Yeah, but we're
For
not
the
arguing
reason
that
for why we're
this
paying
current
more.
system-
Huh?
We're not arguing that this current system works. I'm not on the stage saying that. I think that I
So you
just
just
told him
think-
I paid $1,200 a month in insurance.
Okay, but
I'm just saying the
but
models
argument
in
that I'm
which-
making is that
Okay.
with a single payer system, all of the things I'm mentioning go away immediately.
How?
Okay, if you have a single payer system, everyone can pay their bill because the government is paying it. You're not paying. You're not.
How's the government paying it?
Because they're the
because
payer.
The money that I'm paying in insurance and the money that I'm paying for when I go to the doctor, whatever, and get seen, and I have a $300 bill for whatever the hell I went to go see, right? That money that I'm paying will be going as you can call it a tax, if you will, instead, right? Whatever we want to call it, it's basically going to be a tax. But that instead of me paying the $1,000 or whatever hell I'm paying a month for medical insurance, it goes to the government.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
the
and then
government is the government is the payer. Basically, you know, when with your health insurance, how when you get the bill, let's say that the hospital sends you the bill by mistake, you can call them and say, hey, send this to Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's my insurer.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying,
That-
guys. I'm very well. I hear what you guys are saying.
Okay.
But how you guys are communicating it is like
Okay,
where's the
hiccup?
Okay, your central claim is that under a single payer system, which is obvious, the hospitals wouldn't have any unpaid bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
that's obvious. I understand that.
Okay.
Here's where there's a problem, right?
Okay.
Because I'm not saying that's not the case, so there's no point to state that.
Okay.
The idea that it saves money assumes that the government can pay the bills without new costs. So, for an example, let's just say you're talking about instead of hospitals instead of you having unpaid bills on hospitals,
Hey.
you're basically transferring that to taxpayers.
Hey guys,
And
hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I gotta get off. Yeah, I've
Okay.
been here for 3 hours, almost 4 hours now. So
All
yeah,
right, man.
I gotta
got
get
you,
off.
bro.
But I appreciate y'all and I appreciate the conversation. And come next time. I do these Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. All right, so please come. Tomorrow or next time, whenever you guys are free. But I gotta get off, man. I've been here for 3 hours and I still got work tomorrow. So
All right,
I got
man.
you, bro.
all right, but I do appreciate y'all being here though. All right,
Yeah, man. Have a good one.
all right, you too.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, appreciate you, Chris.
You too.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I should have been out here an hour and a half ago, but I got so caught up in that conversation. But I appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for everybody who was watching me on Facebook and YouTube. You guys are great. And I will see y'all later. We did make it to 25K on the likes. 900 people watching. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Remember to stay up, stay smart, observant. Remember your fallibility and remain thoughtful, okay?